Joe Rogan Podcast. Check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
Let's start now.
It's 1 o'clock, Joe.
Yeah, cheers.
This is such a bad idea. I'm going to end up on
Great idea. We live in
8chan.
Texas. We can do whatever the fuck we want. We're comedians. We're professional comedians, Whitney Cummings.
You know what's so correct? And you know what's so wild to me is you've always been Texas to me. Isn't that weird? Like, I half grew up in Texas. My mom's family's from Sherman, Texas. I don't know if you know Sherman. It's north of Fort Worth. My uncle made the TI Texas Instruments calculators.
Really?
Yeah, he was in the factory, built those.
I used to have one.
Do you remember those?
Yeah.
I used to run around my school when I was a kid and be like, my uncle makes the Texas Instruments calculators. They thought I was the coolest person on the planet. I was like bragging about them all the time. And then we got to the grade where you actually had to order the fucking calculators. And I was all of a sudden the most unpopular person in the school. They're like, fuck you, fuck your uncle.
Oh.
Because remember they were like this, I mean, they were a giant brick.
Yeah.
And like most of the buttons were hieroglyphics.
Hieroglyphics?
Remember it was like 1 through 10, and then it was just like all these other crazy buttons.
Oh,
Those
right.
TI-83.
That's right. Yeah.
They were this
pull up a
big.
photo of those young
They were
James.
this big.
So you should play Drug Wars on.
Drug wars?
Yeah, you could put games on them and shit.
Really?
I don't know. You guys didn't do that?
No.
Oh.
I remember we used to try to
Well.
make dicks out of the numbers.
How do you play Drug Wars?
It was just a text game, so it'd be like you go to this city and you want to buy drugs, and then you go to this city and you buy a bunch of drugs, and then
Is that it?
But this
That
is
looks
a
like a
game.
BlackBerry.
This is before the Silk
Remember,
Road.
I remember when the Blackberries were out, and I was like, I am never going with something without a button. My friend got an iPhone. I'm like, what is that nonsense? You're typing on a screen?
that
That's so
wizardry.
stupid.
It
That's so
also
stupid.
seemed so unsanitary at the time, iPhone versus the buttons. And remember the
Well, the buttons get all the stuff in between the cracks. all
that
the,
shit was
the
nasty.
gunk.
See,
Yeah.
this is like Drug Wars.
Oh.
Just would like list it.
Pigs broke up a drug ring at Greenwood, OBGYN.
So you'd have to move
Xanax and
cities.
Vicodin
So it would get
prices are
messages
outrageous.
like
Yeah,
a pager.
it was just like you had a pager and you were a drug dealer and you had to be successful.
See, pagers.
There's no
people-
winning, but
Pagers were like, Joey Diaz always had a pager. And then people got those pagers that had messages. You
Sky
remember?
pagers.
They had like, you could type a message. People were texting. They were texting page like, hey, meet me at Mike's house.
Right.
That was the thing. Like that predated cell phones. Like
But you would get the page,
Right.
Because I had one running around in D.C. Some people called it a beeper. Some people called it a pager.
Yeah.
If you called it a beeper, we didn't fuck with you. If you called it, it was very serious. That was what really divided America back in
Beepers
the
and
day,
pagers.
versus red versus blue, and then you go to a payphone.
yeah, those things. The Motorola. Yes, two-way pager. So it was basically like text messaging. You send text messages to
I
each
missed
other.
that little clip. You felt so important. You felt like every time someone paged you, you were going to go save a life in the ER.
I'm seriously thinking of going back to a flip phone. I've been really thinking about it lately because the days that I just leave my phone in the house, I don't have any. I have an Instagram app and a Twitter app on my phone, but I never open them anymore. And I've been really thinking like I should just do all that shit from a dedicated phone that I only use for social media, and for my regular phone, just have some shit that I can text people on.
You're the reason I made this folder on the bottom.
What is it?
It says addict.
Oh yeah, that's what I have.
And it used to be on the farthest page,
Yeah.
and then I fucking moved it like an addict. And I'm trying so hard. I even did the little app that makes it so it tells you you've been on your screen for 30 minutes today, and I'm like, fuck you, you snitch. Like I can't even respect my own boundaries for it. But I have Joel Silver, famous LA producer. He uses a flip phone only. And it's like a game changer.
Yeah, it changes your life because then you're only text messaging people and sending phone calls.
And you're not putting shit in writing
Yeah.
that is perfectly well intentioned and can be misconstrued later under new circumstances. I mean, people even get bitchy about when I do an email and it's just like, thank you for the info, period. They're like, are you okay? Are you mad? I'm like, no, that's how adults talk.
Yeah,
I'm
thank
not
you for
doing
the
a,
info.
Not doing a smiley face. I'm not doing an exclamation part.
Some people are so sensitive, though. They're so sensitive.
I'm like, you're projecting onto this. That's your shit.
Well, it's also, we do podcasts, right? So we're talking out loud, and you don't know what the fuck you're saying while you're saying it. And then people take it and then they like make a clip out of it. Like, this is like a very important statement by Whitney Cummings. It's like every day I say something stupid. You could find some shit. I'm not paying attention.
There's this new thing, like when people talk about cancel culture and everything, where I'm like, when did comedians become like heroes and a moral compass? Like our job is to go into dangerous areas, say dangerous shit, test the waters. Like, we're the fucking Magellan on the front line. We're the, when penguins push another penguin off a...
Off the cliff?
That's us. We're like, we'll jump off this cliff and see if there are sharks. Like, we're supposed to be explorers. We're supposed to play devil's advocate and, like, have hot takes. I always, like, I'm working on this new hour, and it's always like, okay, I'm going to say something that's not true that I think is funny and then defend it with jokes. That's kind of like the way I start writing. And I hope you don't agree with anything I'm saying, because then it can't be original, or you've probably heard it at work today. The idea is you pay money to hear someone say some shit you would never hear anywhere else. It's a haunted house.
It's also, you don't really know if it's going to work.
Yeah.
Until you try it out. It's like the famous thing that we quote all the time about Patrice. Patrice had the best take on this. He said, all jokes come from the same place. They all, like, bad ones and good ones. They come from you trying to be funny. And some of them just don't work. But it comes from the same place. It's not like there's an evil intention behind these jokes.
But you have to give us the right to fail. You have to. That's the only way we can learn and know.
Well, most people do. It's a small, very vocal minority that don't.
Agree. And I do think it's funny with all the, like, cancel culture stuff. Like, I do kind of joke that, like, comedians, like, we have exacerbated it so much because we're so sensitive.
Also, we put fuel on the fire.
Yes.
Like, we say the most dumb shit.
Yes. And also, it does get tricky when, people think that, as a comedian, it's not my job for everyone to like me. I hope I'm polarizing, So we can't fight for, like, I have the right to say whatever I want, First Amendment right, but you don't have the right to not like me. It's like, all right, whatever, you don't like me, fine.
Well, in this culture, there is no fucking way everyone's going to like you. It's not possible. If you're the most rational, reasonable person on the left, some shithead on the right is going to hate you. If you're the most rational, conservative person, some wokester is going to get pissed at you. It's like, there's no way. Nobody skates.
I would hope so. Like, I didn't sign up to be a comic to not be polarizing or incendiary. Like, I hope, even when you're in the club with your own fans, you want to say some shit and they're like, and you're like, just stay with me. Yeah. I'm going to fucking turn that. Like,
or not.
Or not. Like, I'm on this fucking tightrope. Let's see how far I can go.
Yeah.
And, I love when Bill Burr goes. I remember one time he was in the main room, and he likes to, bomb on purpose to dig himself out of a hole.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things to do is when you're sort of like, oh, I said some shit that I'm probably, this is something I'm going to have to fucking dig out of. That's when you get stronger and better. And he would open with shit. I remember one time he was in the OR, and he said something like, can we just talk about the fact that black people and white people are different? And everyone's like, ooh, and he's like, stay with me, and then defends it and gets it back.
Yeah.
So I just think that we're a mental haunted house. You're supposed to be, like, spooked and scared and challenged, and you don't have to agree with us all the time.
Yeah, well, there's a recreation right now. It's recreational outrage, right? And recreational attacks. So people try to find things that piss them off and attack them. And if you want to find those, comedians are, like, the best resource. If you're looking for something to get mad at, you can find us all the time.
You go to porn to jerk off. You go to comedians' Twitter to get mad. And it is, I feel like we talk about this a lot, but, addiction to me is the element of the conversation that's missing from this whole thing because, self-righteous indignation is a legitimate addiction. Adrenaline makes dopamine. When you go on there and go, fuck this guy, and you get 2 likes, you're like, yeah. I mean, it's a dopamine high.
Yeah, likes are real. Likes, retweets, replies, when you see all your comments, people agreeing with you. Yeah. Yeah, people feed off that shit.
And I also think people that really love you can go, oh, what the fuck was that, man? But, like, a lot of times negativity, when I look at are people just kind of trying to be funny half the time, or they're just trying to, when I, go to airports, someone's like, what's up, cunt? And I'm like...
Jesus, is it usually a guy?
Oh, yeah, totally. Well, no, I was just in Houston. Dude, Texas bitches do not fuck around. I was across the street, and these girls were like, Whitney, we love you. And I was like, hey. And they were like, get over here, bitch. And I'm like walking across the street, and then... they were like, we want to get a photo. And I was like, cool, go for it. And they were like, hey, we want you to bend over and we're going to run a train on you.
Oh, Jesus
And they're
Christ.
like, and I'm just like...
These girls were all doing that to you?
Yes, and it was just funny. It was silly. Like, it was just, I always have to draw a line. Like, no, I'm not going to take my shirt off. No, I'm not going to kiss you. No, I'm not going to...
hold on. You've been taking your shirt off a lot.
Recently.
On stage, you have people go up and feel your tits. What are you doing?
I think
this is why you're here.
This is an intervention.
Like, what are you up to? You dye your hair granny silver, and then you're having everyone grab your tits. Like, what?
Dude, okay.
What a mixed message.
I'm going to defend the hair in a minute.
You don't have to defend the hair. I don't have any hair.
It was a little Krusty the Clown for a while because I didn't realize when you do a podcast, you guys can just walk on. I had to brush my hair. No one told me when I started a podcast I was going to have to fucking brush my hair.
You don't
every
have to
day.
brush your hair.
Well, when I didn't, everyone thought I was like a
Wear a hat.
crackhead. Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I could do that.
Yeah, or a
Like,
scarf.
nah, if you wear a beanie with colored hair, it's everyone's like calling and being like, "Are you okay?" Like just like Betty Ford is sending me like gift cards.
Right.
But
Wear a fedora like you're a detective. Detective Whitney.
that's really funny and dumb. I could do that.
Maybe a straw hat like
guy.
Huckleberry Finn.
Like, you little dumb fat dude. This is when people talk about LA being dumb. This is the shit that really pisses me off. There's a guy that sells hats for $1,000 in Venice, and they're suede, and they have a little burnt matchstick in them. They'd be $100 at Smith and Wesson or whatever. Not Smith and Wesson. What's the hat company? I should not be drinking bourbon at this time.
Hat company?
The hat company that makes the great hat.
Stetson?
Stetson, yes.
Yeah.
And he puts a match in it, and they're $1,000 in LA. People that have never been to any other state.
Of course.
Think
Good for them.
If they pay $1,000 for a hat, they are a hipster
They deserve themselves.
in Silver Lake.
Yeah.
Yeah, you deserve homeless people setting your house on fire. You already have a burnt match in your hat. I mean,
There are some things that people do sell that you're like, if you buy that, you deserve it. You're not getting ripped off.
Well,
You're getting represented. This represents you.
like you deserve to go broke because
Yeah, you should spend $1,000 on a hat with a match in it. You're an asshole.
Yeah, like you are mentally. This is what you deserve.
Yeah, you want to show up at a party with that thing. Go, oh my God, is that a Franklin?
Yeah.
Like, who made your hat? Is that a Smith?
Yeah,
You know,
when
who
people
makes those?
When people start paying 3 times as much money for something that's vintage, that should be 3 times cheaper because it's vintage.
It's used, you fuck.
You're a dick.
Yeah,
it has
that's old.
crabs.
People
yeah.
have been jerking off into that shirt.
You're getting leprosy from
Yeah,
this,
you
and you
could
just
die.
paid. So I think for me, the whole pandemic, and I know you saw it, and you were very, you and Andy Letterman, and like, the real comics were a big support system to me when I was really trying to figure out a way to help comics keep doing stand-up safely in LA.
Well, you did an amazing job. What you did was really brave because you did it in your backyard amongst friends. Like, you all did comedy together to each other, which is hilarious because you would think that it would be easy to do comedy in front of your friends. It's fucking hard.
And embarrassing.
And super embarrassing. And also, you're doing it for a bunch of comics and agents and managers and friends. And that's not an audience. An audience is people you don't know.
That's right.
And when you guys did that, I was like, look at Whitney, that little junkie. She's out there getting her fix. She's out there getting her fix by any means necessary.
I mean, it was wild to have
Yeah.
whatever your coping mechanism. I mean, it's our job, it's our career, it's our vocation, but it's also our coping mechanism. It's how we
Yeah.
make sense of things. And with everything that was going on, I mean, Tim Dillon was over every day and we were just screaming at each other in my yard.
Wasn't he living with you for a while?
Kind of.
How long was he staying
He was
with you
just
for?
over. He would just come over kind of most days.
I
And
fucking love that dude.
Dude.
He is a goddamn national
we
treasure.
podcast.
Look at him.
Oh, look.
Look at him
There's
on stage.
Olivia Munn.
Who's wearing the mask?
That is Gila Klein.
Olivia's not. She's a gangster. Look at her in the front row. Fuck it. Give me all the COVID. Meanwhile, people have been, look at this, outside with a mask on and everyone's tested. That's
So
what's so
good.
dumb.
So
It's like
good.
no one knew what to do. And it's
one.
like, even still, to this day, the CDC says you can take your mask off when you're outside. There's no evidence whatsoever that there's transmission outside. And if you're vaccinated, you take a mask off inside or outside. And California's like, I don't trust the CDC. Now California's saying no. They
Right.
want to go a whole extra month with masks.
Right.
Like, what are we doing?
And honestly,
What are we doing?
and half of these people are the people that are like, I have a therapist and I'm all about mental health and I'm all about, and it's like, the worst thing for your mental health is just finding more reasons to stay inside and isolate yourself and get drunk on this self-righteous indignation. And I just wanted to show there's a way to do this safely. There's no proof that okay, Joe, did you start the fires let's not start a Texas fire. What is this?
That's weed.
Oh shit, this is
Terrible idea.
Here's that one time I came on your show, I smoked some weed and I just disassociated.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Okay.
That's part of the problem.
If my mouth stops matching
gonna
the
be
words
fine.
I'm saying,
Yeah.
this is a good idea.
That's the kind of weed that'll make Chelsea Handler's hearing come back.
Okay, this is going to cure
Her hearing went out from the
That's-
Moderna. Did you hear that, Jamie?
She put it on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
She put it on Twitter, right? For
I
a
hope
day?
she's okay.
I mean, when I had COVID, I lost the taste, I lost the smell, and then I had some neurological shit. I know you guys are going to say this is how you were before. I didn't have a strong case, and I was like, you guys, seriously? I think I can't remember stuff. I don't remember where my keys are. Like, you've always been a dumbass, but
No, you're not a dumbass. You're very smart, but you're crazy.
yeah, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, you should be. So play that real
Oh,
quick.
wow.
But
I got my second shot of Moderna today, and I feel really sick, and it's only been 4 hours, and I'm deaf in one ear. Did anyone else? I thought I was going to get sick tomorrow, but I feel sick. Did this happen to other people? Please tell me.
Well, first of all, we
so
hope she's okay. You know, all joking aside, we hope she's okay. But I hope she didn't, you know, I hope that was it.
I mean, yeah, I do not.
The people that I know that had COVID
Yeah.
and then took the vaccine after they have COVID they had some pretty rough reactions. Most of them that I know.
Yeah, I did the Johnson & Johnson the day before all that shit came out
So
about
you
the
did
blood
it
clots.
after. I was supposed to do the Johnson & Johnson. I was flying to the UFC and they
Yeah.
had allocated a certain
That's
amount
right.
of them for their employees. But then when I got there, they go, you have to wait till Monday and do it in the hospital because of whatever regulations there are. I was like, I can't stay till Monday.
I just want to get the fucking thing over with. To me, it just was not. I could not spend any more of my mental energy perseverating about it. And I was like, I just want to get on the fucking road and
Right.
do what I do and be able to say I'm vaccinated.
Right. If you say you're vaccinated, it alleviates so much concerns. And people are like, oh, you're on the good guy side.
yeah, it's just something
Yeah.
that it's like whether it's symbolic, whether it's
that
sort
makes
of
sense.
psychosomatic, whatever the fuck it is. And because you know what I found didn't work, because after I had COVID and when I had the antibodies and I would go on sets or go places, I'd be like, guys, I just had COVID. I have the antibodies. No one felt safer when you said that.
You
They
say
would-
vaccinated, they're like, science.
like they just hear the word and
you
it
nailed
just
it.
it's soothing. It's like whatever the mental trick of saying more people support I think it's called assisted living than welfare, even though it's the
Right.
same thing. It's just a word.
Right. Assisted living sounds like old people. That's why.
But yes, and
It
there's
sounds like people that need your care.
that's right. There's
Yeah.
something it's like the difference between a cable guy and a TV technician.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Technician sounds like someone who really knows what they're doing.
It's the same fucking thing. It's the same.
Cable guys, like that Jim Carrey dude. Remember from that movie? He was a psycho.
Oh, that was so fucking funny, dude.
He's amazing.
Jim Carrey, I can't believe you're about this up. I was thinking about him the other fucking day because I was thinking about comics, just sort of how Richard Pryor, if he came out gangbusters today, what the fuck would go on? When we're now holding
He would
comedians.
adjust.
But holding comedians to the standard that we never said we would live up to. We have always kept the bar for ourselves very low in terms of our behavior.
But I think like guys like Richard Pryor, like the greats, whether it's Pryor or Kinnison or anybody, I think they would adjust to the times. And I think we're all trying to adjust to the times. We're all trying to resonate with enough people that recognize that like, yeah, we may misstep or may say stupid shit, and I'm certainly guilty of that a lot. But what we're trying to do is not that. We're not trying to be assholes. We're trying to be funny.
separate
Or
the
we're
intention and the impact.
Or we're trying to think out loud. That's the other thing. We're trying to think. Like sometimes I'll say something and then I'll go, no, that doesn't make sense. And then I have to go back and fix it. But if you just cut it right there, then it looks really stupid. Like you have to put the whole thing together or it doesn't really represent what you're trying to say.
Totally.
But we do it to ourselves in this culture because we're still willing to do this. And this is what's dangerous about it. But this is also what's good about it. Look, I guarantee you, I'll tell you this right now. If I was not me and I saw some of the dumb shit I said, I would 100% go after me. I would do that. I would go after me because I know it's a good target. Like as a comic, if someone says something really fucking stupid, you're like, that's a good target. Fuck that dude. Like what? I'm sorry. What do you know about what? What do you know about this? Where's your education? You know, and I would for sure mock me. So I get it when other people do it, but I think there's a lot of people out there that are fans of comedy, and the fear is that the emotional distress that some comics go through when they get attacked for their material is almost enough for them to quit.
Yeah.
And we don't want that.
That's right.
We don't want that.
That's
we
right.
We want to know what your real intentions are. And
That's right.
everyone I fuck with, they're good people.
That's right.
We're all like
And let me
off,
tell you
like
something.
we see each other. We're super affectionate and friendly.
I'm going to say
There's so
something
much love.
that is, I'm going to steal from Joey Diaz and call you Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan, and there's, you won't even know that you should get points for this, and you would never even think that it was a nice thing to do. But Joe, you are the kindest person truly that I know, the most gracious giving. This is why I say you have a Texas heart, like this big Texas heart. This is such a fucking sick place for you to be. It's such a match for you. Every time I go to the Comedy Store and, you know, an open micer or a young comedian that doesn't have any health insurance or any money, you know, needs a surgery, needs a flight home, something, I'm always like, oh, you know, let me help out on that. And they're like, Joe handled it. You know, it's like the way you give to comics, the way you have, I mean, the amount of comics who probably didn't kill themselves because they got a platform on your show or they were able to tour with you or whatever it is. Like, people are forgetting that comedians, as much as we've worked on ourselves and we can sort of function, like, the mental illness in our community is real intense.
It's very intense. It's 100% of us.
I don't mean to attack, I'm not trying to judge anyone. I'm just, as someone that self-identifies that struggles with, you know, I've been in 12-step programs for almost 13 years now. I'm recovering codependent and Al-Anon and all that shit. And I was in like the fucking love addiction thing. Like, you know, the mental, and part of the reason I want to do these outdoor shows is because I was like, if I was fucking 25 and just about to be featuring or just about to get on a, you know, Rogan or whatever it was, and then they said you can't do comedy for a year.
It's really devastating.
I probably would have blown my fucking brains out. You know, to have any kind of momentum and the amount of, I mean, all these comics that already didn't have fucking money. And so I was like, let's just keep doing fucking shows. And when people clown on me for taking my shirt off, like totally, it's ridiculous. And I'm in this dumb minimizer bra. Annie Letterman said, where do you get your bras? The Holocaust Museum?
What is a minimizer bra?
It just makes your boobs kind of like flatter.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Just so
Does that hurt?
That's not a minimizer bra. This was like a thing that I was shooting.
There's a bunch of videos of her letting dudes grab her tits.
Well, because I'm so sick of not being able to touch people and connect with people.
Oh.
And I'm trying to, not only is it like fun for me, but just calling people up on stage and fucking hugging them and going like, we can't be scared of each other anymore.
Yeah.
Like there's this new thing where it's just like, you know, everyone's like flinching when they see each other. There's such a physical trauma. And I'm just trying to show like, I'm not fucking scared. We followed all the rules. We can go back to being human beings again because this isn't fucking healthy.
No, it's not. We definitely can go back to being human beings again. Some people are resisting it, in publicly, like the people that talk, like, you know, they say, we're never going to, like Fauci said, we're never going to go back to shaking hands. And some people said you shouldn't hug or you should keep a mask on forever. Look, respectfully, I disagree. I don't think this is wise. I think there's a bunch of missing elements in this whole thing. But one of them is that when you take away people's ability to touch each other and be around each other, you greatly diminish the pleasure of being alive.
Right. That's right.
And
exactly right.
It's a big factor. It's a big factor in what we do and who we are. You can't just take it out. It's like, okay, you're going to eat food, but you're not going to drink water. Like, what? You're going to exercise, but you're not going to go to sleep. Wait a minute. I can't do that. I need to go to sleep. Like, you need all the elements of being a person. And one of the things, we need community. Yep. We need comfort. And it's one of the things, I bet if there was a chart of, like, the anger in this country and the sadness, they were all must have, like, ramped up considerably over the last year. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the good things about where we're at now is we have a real chance to consciously recognize that we may have all been kind of shitty to each other over the last year because we're all freaking out. And let's, instead of stop blaming each other, let's everybody just go, okay, what's your intention?
It's like, you know, when you
My intention is to be a nice person and have a good time. What's your intention?
I want to say, like, yeah, I wasn't proud of the way I behaved last weekend when I drank all that whiskey. And everyone's like, cool, let's all go.
Tell me about that. What happened? Because I saw the clips, but I'm like, I don't want to ask anybody until I see someone.
Which
that
one?
podcast that you guys did, Giannis Pappas, you, and what happened?
5.5 hours.
Who else was it?
Me, Giannis Pappas, and Mark Norman.
Okay. What the fuck happened?
We burned every bridge in Hollywood. It's coming out next week, and we just went apeshit on fucking everyone.
That's hilarious.
And we just, you know, it's
were you fucked up? You guys did 5.5 hours.
I had a couple, like, of these hard kombuchas I do, which is like a...
Hard kombuchas?
It's like, have you ever had it?
It's like I'm healthy, but I'm also a drunk. I'm a macrobiotic junkie. Hard kombucha. That is so hilarious.
It's like the next day.
It's like drunk yoga.
I don't feel hungover. I don't feel the next day you take the shit of your life.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's just
of your life.
I like it, and I feel like I can't do hard liquor before I do stand up, but I can have one of these when I'm on stage.
The shits of my life I used to take when I was drinking those kale shakes. My God. My God.
How do they compare with
They were better than the carnivore diet ones. Because the carnivore diet ones, you couldn't control. You were not controlling those. It was like all of a sudden a fucking bomb went off in your apartment building and you're on the 10th floor and you have to make a decision whether you're jumping out the window.
But is it one a day or is it ongoing?
It's just like, it's like out of nowhere, you're like, oh, fuck. Like, you see that cat that jumped out of the window the other day? The burning building? A cat jumped 5 stories and landed on the ground.
Jesus.
Made it. Walked away. Cats are fucking insane.
Wild.
But that was where it was with me. It was like, I might have to jump off this roof. Like, there's no way I'm making it to the bathroom.
That sometimes happens to me right before I go on stage.
Oh, that's the best.
It's the nerves or something where they're like, and you know her from, and you're like, oh, fuck.
I remember I was watching a documentary with Red Hot Chili Peppers, and Flea was on the toilet right before he went on stage. He's like, there's nothing like a pre-performance shit. And I was thinking there, like, as a person who, like, analyzes physical performance, I was like, oh, that's probably a good idea to evacuate all your bowel. Like, I'm like dissecting it. I'm like, of course, I should really think of it as consideration of like different things I have to do before I go on stage. I probably should actively seek to take a shit. I should even time it so that when I go on stage, I don't have anything that I like floating around inside my stomach where I might have to take a shit.
Let me ask you, because the first time I did a stand-up special, the first recording, I puked an hour before, and I never puked out of nerves in my life. It's
that
like
makes sense.
Just my body's like, we can't digest, we can't spend any energy on anything except this.
I have one solution that I do for the last like 3 or 4 tapings. I do hard cardio the day that I do the special.
Huh.
Yeah, I do like hard cardio.
Do you think it kind of like wears you out a little?
100%. Chills you out.
So by the time you get on stage, you're not overly pumped.
Yeah, you're too pumped. You know, you don't want to be nervous. And hard cardio, it chills you out. Because if you can get through, like hard cardio makes you struggle for prolonged periods of time. There's like weightlifting struggling, but it's kind of like easy. It's like, and it's over. There's a thing about the grind, about hard cardio where you don't want to keep doing it, but you do keep doing it because it's so hard to do.
Right.
And then when you go to stand up, it's like, this hard I know how to do. Like now I've already experienced much harder during the day.
Right.
So this hard is acceptable hard.
And it's my thing with specials is just do during the day the thing you've always done when you're doing an hour here. Like don't make it this special different thing.
Right,
just
right,
sort
right.
of like I don't try to expend a lot of energy on people. I don't talk to friends or family before the show. I don't let anyone come, agents, managers. Like I don't want to.
I have everybody come.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
I
but
just
they
won't
can come
talk
to
to
all
you
my
before.
shows.
I won't talk to you before the show because I don't want to be giving you, and I wouldn't do that before a show at the Houston Improv or the Addison Improv.
Right. It gets in the way.
I try to kind of just hang out with whoever's opening, do the same thing I've always done so it doesn't feel like a different show. So I'm relaxed and not putting too much pressure on. But let me ask you something, because during the pandemic, I did pick up some good habits beside the looking like fucking the witch from Hunger Games. I started rowing.
Oh, rowing's beastly.
Dude, there's this thing called the hydro, and it doesn't.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't have that moldy ass bucket of water in the front.
Oh, it doesn't?
I didn't like that.
It's a bucket of water.
That was
I would want that to be
gross.
blood and pretend I'm Blade.
Just elk blood is splashing on your face.
I'm thinking of Blade. I'm thinking of that opening scene. By the way, one of the greatest opening scenes in the history of film. The opening scene of Blade with Tracy Lords and Wesley Snipes. Remember Tracy?
Was she a porn star? Am I making that up?
She wasn't just a porn star. She was the first porn star to cross over into mainstream movies.
Wow.
She was in John Waters' movie. She was in Blade.
Sick.
And she had a big role in Blade. So she was a vampire in the beginning of Blade. Go to the beginning of it because she picks this dude up in a car. Oh, is that where it starts?
Oh,
So
she
she
is
picks
so
this guy
beautiful.
up. She's super hot. And so she was driving this guy around in a car, and she picks him up, and he's like, wow, I'm going back to this party with this hot chick.
Shit.
And they get into this warehouse. And I love this movie, but I love this opening scene. Like, it's one of my favorite opening scenes in any movie.
I'm seeing this for the first time.
This is what it is. So they're going around. We could talk. We'll do it. We'll do it like a fight companion.
love this
So
shit.
he takes her down, or excuse me, Tracy Lords takes this dude, this like California bro, down into this basement party. So they're going through this meat locker. So there's this hanging meat.
The
and one of
tension
them
is so intense.
One of them looks like a fucking human body. And he's like, what? What the fuck? So they're going through here. See? Look at all the meat.
Yep.
And then look, he sees that one. It looks like a fucking human body. Guess what? Whitney Cummings, because it is.
That's you.
But he wants to fuck. See, there's all these bodies hanging there. And he's like, what's happening? So he's like, listen, this girl's so hot. I'm going to go with her.
Oh, I
'Cause
see him. I see him. Yep.
This is totally
In
realistic.
bags.
This is how stupid men are. So she kisses him, and he's like, oh, my God. And this guy's smiling. And then they go into the room. And when they get into this fucking room, it's all dancers and vampires. And he doesn't know they're vampires. He thinks it's just a bunch of people dancing. And everybody's having a good fucking time. And there he is, partying it up with Tracy Lords. And then
That
somewhere
looked like
out of
Ali
nowhere.
Makovsky.
A little bit. And so then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, some blood comes out of the ceiling.
Fuck.
You haven't seen this?
No.
Give it a little juice. So all of a sudden, people are being mean to him. Leave it right there. So watch this. So people are being mean to him, and then you just feel some blood on him. And he's like, what the fuck is going on?
Not
What?
good.
It's
not
dripping.
good.
He's trying to
Not
figure out
good.
where it's coming from.
Why is he licking it?
Because he's trying to figure out what the fuck it is. It's dark. That's right, Jamie. So this is madness. Like people.
I just learned I'm giving a blowjob all wrong.
Some lady's giving head on a couch to a vampire, and so he's like, "What the fuck is going on?" Now watch this. This is where it gets crazy. He looks up and he realizes it's the sprinkler system. The sprinkler system's got blood in it. So as it comes spraying down on these people, and it's all this.
Dude, this is what I do with baby blood
Yeah.
for my skin.
You hear the music? You do that? You doing that, baby blood?
Yeah, the adrenochrome. I have a sprinkler and just spray it all over
That's that Northern
my face.
California tech money shit. So they're all dancing. So watch this. It's like, and then he realizes, like, oh my God, they're fucking vampires. So they all turn, their fangs are out, and he's freaking out, and Tracy Lord screams in his face.
Oy, this isn't good for him.
Oh, it's not
good for
He
him.
knows
He's
the
in a
end
jam.
is near.
He's up against the ropes.
Fucking end is near.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
oh my
Oh.
God. Yeah.
Okay, so okay.
So they start beating his ass.
He's
They
gonna
start-
lose this.
Oh, it's not good. It's not
This
good.
is-
Everything's
he's-
going poorly.
Ooh,
Boom.
ooh.
He gets hit. They throw him down. They start
Oh,
beating the
shit.
fuck out of him. But then watch, right when he thinks it's over, he's trying to crawl to safety, and oh shit, Blade is here.
Uh-oh.
And all the vampires are scared of Blade.
And
Because
Blade
Blade
is-
is half vampire and half human. They call him the Daywalker.
Is that Wesley Snipes?
That's Wesley Snipes.
Oh shit.
In his fucking
He's a
prime.
vampire that doesn't pay taxes. How do you fuck with that?
That's exactly what he is. And this scene when he
Even
looks
the
up.
IRS is scared of this guy.
First of all, I was a giant comic dork when I was a kid, and Blade was one of my favorites because he had teak knives. They were made out of wood, so he could stab the vampires. So
it
he
has
carried
to
all
be
these
a
knives.
wood to kill him, right?
Not in this movie. They changed it up.
I mean,
They made new rules. It was silver, and so
Okay, guys, let's
Wesley Snipes fucks up all these
stick with
vampires.
the vampire facts.
Spoiler
here.
alert: Wesley Snipes kicks the vampires' asses.
I was trying
But
to
it's
find
awesome.
you. I was trying to find you. There was this French movie I watched ages ago. I used to be really into like esoteric independent movies, and
The
there's
vampire one with the little kid.
There's one, this must be 15 years old, where a woman, she goes around and like fucks guys and slowly eats them while she's fucking them.
Oh boy.
And they show it all, and it is wild.
What's it called?
I'm trying to figure it out. And I'm going to be real, there's something sexy about it.
Listen, one of the sexiest horror films ever is a woman doing that to men. It's Scarlett Johansson, Under the Skin.
Oh yeah, I never saw it. Anything she does is fucking
But it's
hot.
crazy. She plays this alien.
Raw. Okay, this isn't
Oh,
it. I have
Jesus.
seen this, but there's one. It's a French name, and I don't want to be googling while I'm on the Joe Rogan program. But I'll find
Jamie will
it for you later.
He's a one-handed Googler like a motherfucker.
There is, there's something fucking hot about blood, and I know no one will talk about it, but I'm happy to say it.
Well, hot female vampires, but actually hot male vampires, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Gary Oldman. The whole thing about that movie, that Dracula, was his romance with Winona Ryder. Like that was a big part of that movie.
Yeah.
That was his beloved. He wanted to come back for her. He wanted her to become a vampire with him.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't sure whether or not he should turn her. He loved her so much, he didn't know whether he should turn her into a vampire.
Well, one of the biggest fucking movies of all time for the youngins is Twilight. It's hot as I'm gonna tell you something. It is hot as fuck. I came back from Dubai. I was on a plane. This must have been 12 years ago. It was like me, Kirk Fox, Dwayne Perkins, Rusty Dooley, whoever. We all went to Dubai, and we're sitting in the last coach row. And in those flights, there's like 12 seats in the middle row. And we're stuck in the middle. I have nothing to fucking do. I'm going crazy. There's like chickens on the plane. I don't even know what the fuck's happening. When you take a plane from the Middle East, it's just wild. And there's no seat assignments. It's everyone just like runs and gets the best seat. Like it's chaos.
Southwest.
You don't,
a giant
totally.
Southwest with chickens.
So, and I started watching Twilight. And it is so hot because he's a vampire.
Right.
She's human. And there's
Right.
something so hot in our fucking bones about he could kill us at any fucking moment.
Yeah, women ridiculous.
Our number one
Imagine
fear
thinking
is-
like that about women. Imagine like wanting to date tigers.
That's
like, I just
what
want.
That's what it is. And I don't know if it's just because if women are on birth control, apparently our olfactory glands change because our body thinks it's pregnant. So we're attracted when we're on birth control to more risk-taking alpha type men.
Oh, that completely makes sense.
Fascinating.
Like your baby needs to be protected even though you don't have one.
And so they say.
Does that make sense?
Exactly what it is. And they say that if you're on birth control and you get engaged to someone, wait a year and see if you still want to fuck them. Go off birth control, see if you still want to fuck this guy. Or
Oh,
you know,
that's
what I mean?
interesting.
It totally changes. I did a bit about it in my HBO special about how like I went on birth control and everyone's like, I gained weight, I did this, and I'm like, I started wanting to fuck guys that wore Axe body spray and had chain wallets, you know, because you start being attracted
I
to.
used to have a chain wallet.
Did you?
I had a
Since
chain
when?
wallet for a long time. Listen, I'm a long-time supporter of the fanny pack. I'm a long-time sufferer.
Can I tell you something?
You can.
I wear this fucking fanny pack you gave me
It's pretty dope, right?
all the time. People stop me on the street. They usually are men with low ponytails, but they fucking love it. I keep my charger on one side and my drugs on the other side.
You know what? I got that from Dice Clay.
Really?
Yes, Dice Clay came in with sweatpants, the most comfortable man alive. He came in just loose. And he had this fanny pack on. I go, dude, that is a fucking sweet fanny pack. Because I've always worn fanny packs.
But yours hugs the body.
Yeah, it's a good one, but it's not mine. It's Roots. So what it is
right.
is he was wearing one. I said, where'd you get that? He said, oh, Roots makes it. Oh! So he gives me this fucking fanny pack. There he is. And it's a really nice one.
Yes,
that's exactly.
that's
so
it.
the origin of the higher primate fanny pack is the great and powerful Andrew Dice Clay.
But look at this as a
It's got my higher primate logo like smushed into it.
But it also has two pockets in the
Yes,
front.
his does too. His does too. It's it's 100% made by Roots. It's their design. It's the best fanny pack I've ever had.
But a lot of fanny packs, they make you just look like a fupa because they sag.
Right. They come out too much.
Yeah, that's
this
right.
thing's perfect. You can put your keys in there. You got your wallet in there. Everything's fine, and you don't
Your
feel like
flip
an
phone.
asshole. You don't have like a giant float tube in front of you.
You can also put it on your
Yeah.
back,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool.
You
like
definitely could
I'll
do
put it
that.
on my back.
Yeah.
And it's also high quality. I feel like people that make fanny packs are like, we know the people buying these are poor, so they make them shitty.
Dude, when I was a kid, when I was 19 years old, me and this girl that I was dating would sit in my fucking car and listen to Andrew Dice Clay's cassette and howl laughing. So just to know that dude and like to have him recommend, oh, get this, it's fucking Roots. It's from Canada. Oh! And
Dude, my favorite Dice shit is one time he was at, remember, you know, on Mondays, I don't know if they're still down in the Comedy Store now that they're kind of half open or whatever. Like,
they're going to be fully open Monday.
wild. I haven't been yet.
Yeah.
I've been here.
Fully
I've been
open
touring.
on Monday. We're doing a show tonight, right?
Yeah, Creek in the Cave.
Yeah,
I
Creek
was-
in the Cave is outstanding.
And then I'm doing Creek in the Cave, and then I'm hopping over to like Sunset Strip
Oh, yeah,
down
yeah.
the street.
Yeah.
I think like between
Yeah, I want to
shows.
see that place too.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go between shows.
What do they have, an 8 and a 10? How crazy is the Austin comedy scene already?
Dude,
It's wild.
I always fucking love coming here. I think I was gonna do South. Did you ever do South by Southwest?
No.
When they had a fucking great comedy like section of their festival. I don't love doing
You
outdoor
know what
comedy.
they offered me? They offered me free tickets to see other shows.
Huh?
Yeah, they don't pay you. They don't even pay to fly you out there or put you up. They offered me free tickets to see other people work for
Your
free.
friends go what?
I was like, what kind of an amazing Ponzi scheme do you guys have? You should get Bernie Madoff out of jail right now. Oh, he's dead. Didn't he just die?
Here's the other thing about
Did Bernie just die?
Madoff.
Yeah, he just died. Yeah.
Oh, I don't feel bad. Is that weird?
No, you shouldn't feel bad. I bet he doesn't feel
Didn't
bad.
his
I bet,
son kill himself?
Yes, yes. I think another person
That's
killed
sad to
themselves
me.
too in the organization. It's a horrible, horrible, horrible story. I've talked to people that really understand finance, and they explain it to me, and they're like, these people, like, no, it's so rare to get that many super rich people and have them completely duped by a Ponzi scheme.
Right.
And that's what was so crazy about it, that he was so good and he had such a high return for so many years, and so many people were coming to him that he
Yeah.
constantly had this money coming in.
Which is, to me, I get fascinated by when people. He's obviously a brilliant guy. He's
Yeah.
obviously super talented. I get fascinated, and a fucking hard as shit worker, just in the wrong direction. I get fascinated, going like, well, this person's worth ethic is fucking incredible, and I'm impressed by this person. But you could have done it the right way with how smart you are.
Yeah, but he's not that smart. Because if he was that smart, he wouldn't be stealing from people. See, he's got energy. Like, think of it as a car. Think of it as a car, right? Imagine if you had a car that handled like a 1968 Ford truck, right? They're kind of sloppy on the road,
Right.
but it went fast in a straight line like a Tesla.
Right.
It's like it's got one thing that it does really good.
Right.
It can go, but it can't handle. So it doesn't have emotions or empathy. It doesn't care about other people. It's stealing from people, but
Right.
figuring out how to do it with this thing that requires pretty intense calculation and computation, because he's trying to figure out how to manipulate all this money to make it look like he's investing things without showing people how he's investing things. And all this money is getting returned to these people. But if they ask for money, he's fucked. And that's what happened in 2008.
And maybe because it's he's a psychopath or sociopath
Yeah.
and lacks empathy. To me, I just can't lie because it's too emotionally exhausting. The idea of lying that much to that
Yeah.
many people is, to me, so much work.
You know what it is? He got attached to people that were valuable. That's one of the things that happened with that guy.
Interesting.
He got attached to people with high standards, but people I think he ripped off Steven Spielberg. Didn't he rip off Steven Spielberg?
I think Leonardo DiCaprio, if I'm not,
Maybe. But Steven Spielberg is a fucking icon. If you rip Steven Spielberg invests his money with Bernie Madoff, you're like, oh, well, we're good.
Yeah, at
That's
least-
Jaws,
How
Close
can, I
Encounters.
know. How can you say, like, I'm going to go rob the guy that made E.T.?
Because he doesn't think he's robbing him. Because
Yeah.
he doesn't think it's ever going to end. Because he's a crazy person.
But is this somebody that has convinced? I'm obsessed with like intention versus impact. And if you have what's so insidious to me is the people that actually think they're doing the right thing. A lot of people that steal, and we know ones that have stole from comedy clubs and stuff, they think they deserve it.
Right. They think that they should have gotten extra money, so they just steal it.
It should have been me. And they don't deserve as much as they
Right.
have, so they feel like they're Robin Hood. In their mind, they've deluded themselves, right? I don't think they're going, I'm doing a fucking bad thing today. I think they're like, this is what I deserve.
Well, there's also people that steal like from stores. Someone who
For
just
the high.
decides, yeah, and also because they can get away with it. But this is like a disassociative thing, right? You're not thinking of the people you're stealing from as a person. You're thinking that as ultimately, it's the same way we justify,
man.
in a way, it's the same way we justify like our country doing things in other countries, right? Like even military actions. We justify because it's not one person, it's sort of a collective, and there's a diffusion of responsibility involved with all these people. But there's almost like a reverse diffusion of responsibility when it's you and it gets distributed. All the loss gets distributed through a lot of people.
Yeah.
So a lot of people that are poor that steal things, they're not even thinking they're stealing from a person.
You can dehumanize
Yeah.
a group.
Stealing from some fucking 7-Eleven, they don't even know, they got plenty of money. You know, it's like this thing that happens.
Yeah, when I think
Yeah.
7-Eleven, I think they're just rolling in
Yeah,
cash.
they're stealing money. Give me that fucking cigarettes.
Yes,
You know,
and-
some people, like if someone swipes a candy bar or something like that.
Yes.
They're not being evil, but they have dehumanized the process of exchange.
And there is a level, of like justice sort of warrior vibe. I definitely get that. And I know that in sitting in so many 12-step program addiction meetings, like shoplifting is a real big high for a lot of people too.
yeah.
And that I'm getting over one. The adrenaline you get from doing graffiti in public places, stealing, like putting a leather jacket under like getting one over is like a big
Did you ever
endorphin
busted
rush.
stealing something?
I've never stole. I stole. Okay, so my I'm actually going to go back and apologize. I'm not even joking. Because it fucking haunts me. It haunts me to this day. You know that one of the 7 wonders of the world, correct me, Jamie, is that it's called Natural Bridge in West Virginia. And I spent a lot of time in West Virginia as a kid. My dad managed a hotel there, and we went to a place called Natural Bridge, and I shoplifted, how about this? Native American jewelry.
No! You stole double. You double stole.
I mean, here's the one.
Oh my
I
God.
double stole.
You double stole. You
To
already
be
stole
fair,
their land.
it might have been fake.
Oh.
It might have just been stolen designs by white people that I then stole back, which
Right.
balances everything out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I stole all these because I'm obsessed with horses, and I found all these. It was a Native American. I'd have to look up the tribe in that area. These like beaded necklaces that were in the shape of horses, and I wanted them so bad, and I stole them.
Well, how old were you?
7.
I was having this conversation. I don't think you're responsible. I was having this conversation with Lex Friedman today, and we were talking about student loan debt because he was listening to a podcast that I did, and we were discussing on the podcast the amount of people that owe student loans.
Yeah.
And it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 million people.
It's fucked.
It's some insane number.
And it gets higher every year. You can't afford to pay it. The
and they
interest goes
owe
up.
trillions of dollars
Right.
overall. And we were talking about it, and I said, in a way, it's kind of like we know scientifically, we understand like the development of the human brain. Your frontal cortex doesn't fully develop until you're somewhere in the neighborhood of like 20-something years old, 25.
Yeah. Different for men and women, I think.
It's different for.
I'm not allowed to say men
yeah.
and women. Sorry.
Right, whatever it is, it's like it's in your 20s. But yet, by that time, you could be hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt in student loans, rather, and not understand the consequences of this.
That's right.
Not totally be able to wrap your head around. Imagine going from high school to hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of debt in a period of 10 to 20 months.
That's right.
Like out of nowhere, all of a sudden you owe all this money.
Right.
Like now you're 20, 21 years old. You're still a child, essentially.
That's right.
Now
And you're
going to
making the
grad
biggest
school.
decision of your life, and you're
Right.
putting yourself in an emotional and physical prison for the rest of your life.
And you're in this place where you're like, okay, now I have to go to grad school.
That's right.
Because I want a PhD, because whatever I want to do, or I want a master's. And you're going into that, and you're like, now you're more into debt.
That's right.
And now you get out and you're 25, and your occupation is evaporating for whatever reason.
Because machines took over.
Yeah,
I'm an eye
yeah.
I'm an eye surgeon. Well,
Yeah.
they have a little machine to do that now. They have
Right.
Lex Friedman probably fucking made it.
He probably
the
did.
machine. So
The average debt for dental school graduates is $292,000.
And then how much
Oh
do they
my
make
God.
a year? So how much do they make a year, and how much can they actually pay off per year, plus the interest they're getting charged every
Oh
year?
my God! Imagine having that hanging over your fucking head when you get out of school. Right when you get out, you owe $292,169 on average. That's so insane.
That is wild. And it also deters people from wanting to get educated. It
Fuck
deters
yeah.
the very people that need to get educated, because a lot of people that can't afford to go to these schools probably already have a job waiting for them at fucking Goldman Sachs or whatever. My boyfriend is a critical care veterinarian, and he doesn't have as much debt. He paid a lot of it down, but most people that are in their late 30s that are in the highest specialty of veterinary school have $400,000 of debt. And they just want to fucking save dogs.
Wow.
Crazy.
$400,000 in debt. Here's the wacky part about it. You can't get out of that. You can't get out of that through bankruptcy. It's one of the only kind of debts that you can't get out of. So say if you have a business, you open up a fucking hat business with matches coming
With
out of
matches,
it.
I'd be fucking billionaire.
You'd be rolling in that cheddar.
If I go to LA and make them think that
Yeah.
they're like part of Texas culture, even though they hate Texas, they all dress like
Yes.
they live here now, but they loathe it.
Yes.
They wear cowboy boots up and down Los Feliz Boulevard, but they're like, fuck Texas. Like, okay.
They don't know. They're just not here. Wherever you're at, you're like, if you're in Detroit, you're like, fuck Florida.
Yeah.
It's just how it is.
Florida has some of the most beautiful beaches on the
Florida's
fucking
amazing.
planet.
Florida's
I
amazing.
love Florida, dude.
Florida's amazing.
I'm going to perform in
I like
Clearwater.
their governor. How about that? I said it.
I don't know who she is.
Ron
Him.
DeSantis. It's a boy. You fucking sexist
Sorry, I
piece of
am.
shit.
I don't believe in
You just
gender.
assumed.
I don't see gender.
You just assumed it was a girl,
How does
'cause
he
women are
identify?
better,
How does
huh?
he identify?
He identifies as a male. His name's Ron.
He's deluded, and
Who
he
the
will be a
fuck's dating
female any day now.
A girl named Ron.
I mean, I imagine a guy would figure
for
it out.
sure, if
If
she's
there was
hot.
just a stripper and her stage name is Ron.
Yeah, okay. I'm like,
Why-
okay.
But why is like Billy sexy on a girl? Like Billy.
Let me tell you something.
That's a hot
Guys
girl name.
do not give a fuck about your name. Like, your name could be bah.
Ross.
Your name could just be bah. We don't care if you're hot and you're nice. Like, why do you have to say her name like that? That's what she wants,
But
man.
guys'
Respect
name-
what she wants.
Ronnie works for girls sometimes. I've
Ronnie?
known multiple Ronnies. Yeah.
You know what? You're
Oh,
right.
yeah,
You're
Ronnie,
right.
yeah.
They don't
Rhonda.
have teeth,
Right.
but they're
Rhonda
lovely.
for sure.
I didn't think,
Rhonda.
at first I was
Rhonda.
like,
Ron.
yeah, I know. But
Rhonda's hot.
Yeah.
Ron.
Ronnie.
Ron.
Sounds like
This is Ron. My friend Ron.
My friend, no, Ronald.
You are a
Harry.
there?
Harry does not work. Harry is a man's name
Right,
that
right.
does not work
For a girl.
on a woman.
Right, Harry.
Bob, I don't think.
Because it's
works.
Harry.
Bobby
Harry
with
is
the-
Harry. It's the
Harry.
same thing. It's not much difference between hair
That's all I think is
E-
hair.
or Harry.
Harry.
Harry? This is
That's
my
a
friend
no-go.
Harry.
Naming a baby Harry as a girl would be so funny.
That's evil. That's a boy named Sue. That's what Johnny Cash's dad did to
I'm
him.
only naming my kids joke names.
Oh no.
Their last name will be Cummings. So they're
Right.
they're already fucked. I might as
Right.
well just really
Call
give,
it one of them already.
Do you know? Do you know? Do you,
Unexpectedly. This is my son unexpectedly. This is
two
this
things.
is his sister already.
you know that my mom and dad, before they got married, my mom's maiden name was Cumming with no S. Married Eric Cummings with an S. She's Patty Cumming
What?
Cummings. Swear to God.
What?
I know. It's
Why didn't she hyphenate? What is she, a fucking sexist?
It must have.
She should have done.
Well, by the way, how about this? My dude.
That might be the only excuse to never hyphenate, because we could just meet in the middle. I'd be willing to drop the S. I'm like, fuck this S. I don't need that S.
A lot of people
I'll be a good
are
guy.
merging last names instead of like, I'm not going to
Yeah,
take
they
my
should
husband.
jump into a volcano, all of them. The fuck
Wait,
out of here.
I kind of want to, because if my dude's last name is Barnes, and if we merged it, I'd be Cumbarn. Which I think might be worth it, Whitney Cumbarn. I feel like we should. I'm a feminist. My last name is Cumbarn.
Yeah.
You know
that should be your title in your next special. Coming in a barn.
Yeah, Texas. We're live from
Yay!
Texas.
Dun-dun. Fucking cowboy hat.
I mean,
and
a lot
spurs
of
and shit.
a lot of Southern women, they have their first orgasm. Horse girls on a horse. Just saying.
Oh,
it's a
well,
big
that is a thing,
it's a
right?
big thing.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
Girls and horses is a real thing. I've
Yeah.
heard that. It's like a
Yep.
secret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can figure out like your.
Makes sense.
I grew up riding horses. There's a certain point where you're like, wait a second.
Yeah.
I'd
Right?
like to go for a 6-hour trail ride.
Wear a pair of satin underwear.
Yeah. Oh,
Woo,
interesting.
let's
Oh,
party.
I'm MeUndies all the way.
No. You want something slick,
Do you know the
right? If you're on a horse, I'm not a girl, but if I would imagine, that's how you do it. Like,
maybe.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
satin.
Satin. I love
something
guys.
real silk. That's what I meant to say.
I love
meant
guys
silk.
talking sexy. Like I was
That's
talking.
sexy talk for
I
me.
know, but
That's how I
was-
do it.
Do you get your wife a satin teddy for?
Yeah.
I like that guys are so programmed to see shiny satin, and they're like, yeah.
Well, I think I've thought about this a lot. Like, what is lingerie saying? Mm-hmm. Lingerie saying I 100% want to fuck. That's all it is.
No.
Like,
No.
No one. Now, I'm not saying that if a girl says no, you.
No, I'm saying I want to fuck in 45 minutes after you look at my lingerie. Don't tear it off. Don't touch it.
Don't get crazy.
Don't come on it.
Right.
You got to know the difference between the cheap and the expensive. The cheap one that from Amazon that's got,
So communication
was made,
is key.
The one that was you just got to look at it and know the quality. The one that was
that's not gonna
made
happen.
at the wet market that you bought on Amazon, that one you can rip off. It's shitty, it's cheap. But if it's like the fancy stuff that looks like because I'm such a feminist, but now I'm going to tie myself into a corset.
Okay, but like honestly, I'm not defending feminists, but I am. Isn't that part of being a feminist is that you can choose to be sexy and vulnerable if you want to.
100%.
See, this is where I think everything gets fucked up.
You're right.
So when people think about what it means to be a feminist, you think, oh, it means like a dominant woman that wants to compete with men and win.
Nope.
Maybe it's just a person who just wants autonomy. You want to be able to do whatever you actually like. So if you want to dress in lingerie and wear high heels because you like it, isn't that part of what's being feminist? And isn't the resistance to that is kind of like a lot of player hating. It's
That's
like
right.
girls who are jealous about maybe girls who can achieve a certain look that they can't because of their body or because of just who they are, whatever it is. There's a little weirdness going on. A little bit of if you have to be a feminist, you have to be drab. I mean, this is just the stereotypes, obviously. But you have to be like a woman who doesn't tolerate any masculine horse shit, any of the dumb stuff.
Yep.
But some women like masculine horse shit, and men like feminine horse shit. Men like dumb shit, right? Jamie, back me up here.
Here's the thing.
A little bit?
I just talked about this on my podcast about
100%.
how there's this new thing now where feminism. I know,
Are
like
you talking into your neck? Like
I
that?
why
What's
am I
going
doing? I
on
have a
there?
hole in my neck from smoking so much ketamine.
I remember the old Bill Hicks joke.
Bill Hicks had like a bit he used to do where he used to stick a thing, talk about smoking.
Because there were commercials in
Those
the
guys
90s
who
with
get
the.
that thing. Have you ever talked to a guy who has one of these?
Have you ever talked to a guy who has one? I don't even know they do those anymore.
No, but I did have a track coach in high school that had shot his face off trying to commit suicide.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it was rough, hard to look at.
What
It
did
made
it
me
look
run
like?
faster.
What did it look?
He would run. He would run beside us, and you're just like, Jesus fuck.
It made me run faster is the funniest thing anybody ever say about seeing the guy's face who got shot.
But like you know.
Oh my god.
You know,
He made me run faster.
But you know, like,
This is waiting for you when you
he's like,
return.
Jesus fucking Christ, I got it.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
But you know how like when someone shoots a gun, for a lot of people that try to commit suicide, they don't know that the gun's gonna jerk, and so he tried to commit suicide like this, and it jerked, and it just shot his face off. That's why you're supposed to do it in your mouth, right? So it doesn't.
Yeah, or don't be a pussy.
Yeah, or just I don't know,
Hold it still.
jump off a bridge like an adult. I don't know.
Oh, you just said that. A friend of mine just did that. Sorry, but I'm going to make you feel bad.
Okay, I don't. I'd have to know who the person is, and I'd have to see their old tweets to know if I support that decision.
I
or not.
don't think he had a Twitter. He was an older guy.
It's brutal. I mean,
Good friend of mine, though.
I'm sorry.
Golden Gate Bridge.
No, I was
Yeah.
just going to say I watched that documentary about the
Yeah.
people that jump off the Golden Gate Bridge, and it's fucking.
Yeah, I say he's a good friend of mine, but I haven't like I appreciate people that I don't talk to all the time, unfortunately.
I thought they had
I thought
nets
about
now.
that.
Don't they have
Oh,
nets?
No. There's no net. I don't think so.
How many people a year jump off the Golden Gate Bridge?
A lot. Enough. It's an issue because it's like for some people it's the abyss, right? There's something about there's the allure of the abyss. You ever heard that expression?
No.
There's something that people see when they look off the side of a building that really freaks them out. And part of what it is that it freaks out this desire to just leap and end it.
Which to me is really fascinating because I'm obsessed with ancestral trauma and like the phobias we inherit, the guilt we inherit, stuff like that. Like the famous cherry blossom experiment. I couldn't tell you who did it, but where they electrocuted a rat every time it smelled cherry blossoms, and the rat's offspring, when it smelled cherry blossoms, would recoil and run to the other side of the cage. It was an inherited fear.
Yeah.
And babies recoil at a photo of a spider, even though they don't know what the fuck a spider is. They just know that. And I have friends that are so terrifyingly scared of heights, and others, my boyfriend's a rock climber. He'll just climb to the fucking top. And it's like,
isn't it just that he's like conquering the fear that everyone has and then minimizing it with experience, right? Because everyone's scared to fall off of a cliff.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is. But some people, when they approach any kind of real challenge, they go, yeah, we're all terrified of that. But if I can navigate it, wouldn't that make me less terrified of things? Wouldn't that make me more empowered about how I live my own life? Like what I was talking about earlier about hard cardio the day you do a filming. Because there's the adrenaline of that filming. There's some fear. But what fear is it? It's not going to be like minute 36 on the fucking stair climber when you're listening to Led Zeppelin, down, 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 and you just want to quit. But you're going to keep going. You're going to keep going. You're going to burn yourself out. You're going to push yourself to this weird place.
Right. So
all that stuff, I think, gets encoded in our memory.
I think,
or
our DNA. So
yeah,
I'm so
whatever it is,
or the epigenetic imprinting. I'm fascinated by people's fear of public speaking. You and I do not have that. It is like
Yeah, but I did when I was young.
Interesting, but
I was scared to talk to bank tellers. I used to get social anxiety.
I was when I was poor too.
Well, it wasn't even just that I was poor. I was just weird. I was real weird.
The glass and the, it is, to me, I think, I read this whole thing. It wasn't in Sapiens. I read it in some book that I'm sure you've fucking read 100 times, but about how our fear of public speaking is based in that if you are speaking in front of people, that means you are making your case to the tribe.
No, I learned about this from you.
Right?
You told me this. Yeah, you told me this. And I was like, oh, that makes total sense.
So much sense.
Yes.
And so
you were fucked.
Yeah, so I'm fascinated by, there are some things I feel, and I know that I grew up in a dysfunctional alcoholic home where, the chaos was very normal. And so for me, I feel very alive in a time of crisis, and I feel anxious when things are going smoothly because I'm always waiting for the other shoe to drop, you know? And so, but I feel very comfortable in front of thousands of people who may or may not run on stage and hit me. I think that for rock climbers, it's like, and comedians, my fear of not doing comedy is just outweighs my fear of going on stage and being embarrassed.
I see what you're saying there, and I agree with it. But what you said when you talked about talking in front of people, that if historically that was going on, you were fucked. You're in real trouble.
Yeah.
I agree with that. But I also think there's another aspect of it. The other aspect of it is you wanting to be the alpha. Yeah. You wanting to be the person that talks to all in front of all of these people. Like if someone pays to see your show, they're seeing you do stand up for a whole hour where you talk and they do not. And it's very hard for people to do. And some people can't. And those are hecklers.
Yep.
Some people just can't hang.
Yep. And also, it's not only are you coming to watch me talk, you're paying to watch me talk. And if you say anything, security will remove you from the building.
Even though you paid.
That's right.
They'll kick you out if you disrupt and make it all about you.
But
yeah, it's kind of wild.
There is to me, it's all about body language and all about sort of, and this is why, I'm so into horses and dog training and stuff like that and horse body language.
Didn't you try to save some bears while you were out here?
I did.
I got an
Texas, I fucking love Texas.
I got an angry text for Whitney about bears.
I love you.
She's saving bears out here. She's mad at people. I'm like, whoa, are you having
Texas.
fights already?
I fucking love Texas. But when you have Texas and West Virginia, but you're ready to fight anyone at any time.
Right.
And there's an incredible amount of animal cruelty in Texas that to me is against what Texas is all about. Like putting bears in boxes. What was it called? The Central Capital. It was called the Capital Texas Zoo. It's right fucking out here. There's bears in cages, the ones that the Chinese use to do the gallbladders. Take them, like the gallbladder, some medicine, and they're in these cages and there's no water.
What, you mean black bears? Is that what you're saying?
I'll show you.
It must be a black bear.
Yes, I got the name.
Do you know that gallbladder thing is like, it's so bad that you're not allowed to, even if you legally hunt a bear, you can't open up its organ cavity because people are worried that people are shooting bears just for their gallbladders in British Columbia.
That's right. The
Black
Asiatic
bear.
black bear and this bullshit Capital of Texas Zoo, which is trying to say it's like rescuing them, is all about the Asiatic black bear is a species whose population is rapidly decreasing due to illegal hunting for its gallbladder, which is used in Asian folk medicine. And then you're going to fucking put it in a box and not give it any water. That pisses me off, and it's a USDA violation. So I go around to these like bullshit.
Are you calling these people out publicly right now on this podcast?
I guess I just did, didn't I? These motherfuckers, here's what, you want to know why
This is a real problem for them. You understand that, right? You just like opened hell's door.
It's a real problem for me because these motherfuckers have guns at all times. And it is a really dangerous thing for me to be into. Remember, I did it with the giraffe and those fucking crooks in LA. And most of it I do privately. Yeah, Malibu fucking, safari.
Thing out here, like, how did you find out about this?
I found out about it because I'm in a pretty like hardcore group of people that
Animal rescue people?
That try to shut down illegal behavior, zoos, roadside zoos, because, and I know it's like, Whitney's crazy, she loves animals, like who gives a shit? To me, once I started learning the statistics on whenever there's exotic animal trafficking, it's usually accompanied by human trafficking. It's all the same people. So when you see a lion running free in Houston or private ownership of lions, tigers, bears, any apex predator, there's usually teenagers from another country in the same truck. So it's like dog fighting. It's like people are like, oh, it's just dog fighting. Who cares? That's what's in the front yard. But if you see that in the front yard, go into the fucking basement and see what else is fucking going on. So that's what the top 3 most profitable black market businesses, right? It's arms, drugs, and then human/animal trafficking. So it's the same people. No one traffics jaguars and doesn't throw in a couple people.
You know what's weird? Pause and think about this for a second. Okay. It's weird how we have associations with animals where there's acceptable torture and death, and some where it's not. And with exotic animals, we're especially sensitive to the idea of killing bears or putting bears in cages. But if you found out the chickens are in a cage right next door, you're like, well, that's a chicken factory. They're making McNuggets.
And I think and they're delicious. Put some honey on that shit.
But you know what I'm saying? It's
and
like,
I think I know. What
is that?
I can say why. Because when you see an apex predator, a lion, tiger, or bear that's so incredibly strong, you know how much abuse had to go into containing that animal because they're so incredibly strong. Michael Jackson, the fucking asshole in LA, Bob Dunn, I'm going to say it, who puts chimpanzees in cages so that they don't build any muscle. If you're seeing a chimpanzee, a lion, tiger, or bear in a cage, they got to be on fentanyl, they're on all these drugs. Natasha Daly wrote a really amazing...
They're on fentanyl?
Oh, yeah. The ones in Thailand...
They put chimps on fentanyl?
Oh, they put them in cages like this so that they don't grow any muscle.
Yeah.
And any chimp, like Michael Jackson's chimps, there were 3 of each. Because
do they all have the same name?
There's Chubbs. Yes, there was like a Chubbs 1, a Chubbs 2, and then a Bubbles 1 and 2. Because after a year, you can't hold a chimp in a tuxedo. It's going to rip your face off.
Right. Just beat your ass.
Yes. So after about a year, they send it off to experiments. There's one actually in a zoo in Armadillo, Texas, one of the Chubbs. I know where all Michael Jackson's fucking animals are. Like, that's my fucking hunting.
What? Really?
Yes, yeah.
You know where all of Michael Jackson's
like
animals
all of them.
are?
A lot of them are sold for experiments.
Oh, Jesus,
The elephants are kind of spread out. Yeah, one of them
They were
died.
sold for experiments?
The chimps were.
Like lipstick? What kind of experiments?
Chimp experiments, Space Odyssey sequel. Yeah.
Space Odyssey sequel.
But it's a lot of colleges and universities, the ones that are fucking waiting around for their student loans and imprisoning people financially, do a lot of experiments on college campuses. God. So I don't do a lot of this publicly because I'll get murdered.
Can you imagine you go from living in the fucking castle, living in the Michael Jackson Neverland castle, to getting experiments done on you, and you don't understand English, and you're like, what is happening?
Can
like,
you
I thought I
imagine
had the life. I had the fucking life. Now I'm strapped in, and they're experimenting on me.
I went from being fucked by Michael Jackson to being probed, in Texas.
What the
I don't.
fuck?
It was, but chimps, they get so fucking strong. They have to keep them in cages so their muscles don't build. They don't feed them any protein, and then they inject them with, there's one university, which I'm not going to say right now because I'm like getting all my fucking ducks in a row, but they put Botox in their muscles so they don't develop any muscles.
Did I ever tell you about the time I went to a tiger place in Thailand?
Brutal.
Did I tell you about this?
No.
I did. We did a bunch of animal things, me and my family in Thailand. We did one of them that was really cool. We hung around with elephants and you fed them, and I had it on my Instagram page. You give them sugar cane and you wash them, and then
as long as you're not riding them. And
no, you do ride them.
Okay.
But they want you to ride them. They let you. You weigh as much as one of those stupid hats with cigarettes in it.
Totally.
That's what you weigh to an elephant.
But
I didn't like it.
Yeah, what they have to do to get them that compliant is pretty brutal,
Not in this place.
Okay,
in this
yeah,
place,
this is,
first of all, these animals are completely wide open and they're free ranging.
Sheldrick Trust
Yeah.
does a great job too. If they raise them from being babies.
They do that, but they also take animals from circuses and reintroduce them to the wild. Because while you're walking with these elephants, they just grab a tree and start eating it.
So
like they can do whatever the fuck
awesome.
they want, and they're so not intimidated by you in any way. And the relationship that the trainers had with the elephants was love. It was all petting
Positive
and giving them
reinforcement.
sugar cane. They gave them food, and they were always washing them. And when you have this, they did it very smartly.
Because a lot of these elephants, if you reintroduce them to the wild, they'll die right away, and the
Exactly.
other elephants will actually kill them.
But this place in Thailand, they have successfully reintroduced many to the wild. And one of the things that they did is you don't just ride the elephant; you have a relationship with it.
Yes, that's it.
So they bring you over, like, this is the elephant that you're going to have a relationship with, and you're going to feed him sugarcane and wash him.
That makes me so
I'm
happy.
handing them sugarcane. They take it gently with their trunks. They're sweet,
Well,
sweet
that's
animals.
amazing. Do you remember the name of this place? Because I always love to
I
promote
do not
the
remember,
good
but
places.
it was. We stayed in Chiang Mai, and it was hour maybe outside of that, not that far away. But the way they did it was all about like what you paid for that experience would go towards funds
Awesome.
to help these animals and reintroduce them to the wild, and also get them from circuses and rescue them from some other places. I didn't like the riding part. I was but everybody else wanted to do it. But my thought was like, I like feed you and I'll wash you. I want to be your friend. I don't need to get on top and be like, I'm riding you.
That's a language
Yeah.
elephants understand, and I think that the really shitty places, which is most of them, give the good ones a bad name, which sucks. I went to one. I went to Koh Samui. And I don't remember in Thailand where I went to one, and there's, you go there and everyone's riding them, and then you look down and there's just chains between their feet, and it killed me, it crushed me, because I thought I was going to this amazing sanctuary, because anyone can put sanctuary in the front of their fucking thing, but I think I've heard you talk so much about, captivity of, dolphins, and it's just when you see that, and when you're like, this is just intolerable, like.
Yeah,
These animals are not designed to be in it's prison. You're watching this incredible thing be in prison, and you know that this motherfucker, the second it gets out, could kill everyone within a 50-mile radius.
Yeah.
The fact that they're in this cage, what had to happen in order to confine them that way? I mean, what happened for someone to put you in a cage? They'd have to fucking shoot you with darts. So it's so heartbreaking to see powerful animals be reduced to a fucking zoo exhibition.
A shelf trinket.
It's sick. And look, and a lot of animal people are fucking crazy as shit. And, as we say, animal people aren't always people, because a lot of people that are real big in animal rescue have a lot of childhood trauma. They were neglected, they were abused as kids, and they see something voiceless and that can't, send emails or make phone calls being abused, and they go fucking nuts. So I don't fuck with a lot of animal rescue people because they're not rational. My thing is like, let's focus on changing a law instead of trying to get every fucking elephant out of every zoo. I think that, someone like you, I think we're similar in that we see how fucked up it is to have an apex predator in a box.
Yeah, we went to the elephant thing, and the elephant thing it actually felt good. Because these elephants, they came over the top of the hill.
Oh.
They just showed up out of nowhere. There's no
Awesome.
fences. They came over the top of the hill, and they come when they know that they're going to bring out the sugar cane, and they're going to meet these people.
And they're choosing to do it.
And the way they meet you, they just walk right up to you. I'm telling you, it's wild. Like they bump into you, like they bring their face to you, and you pet them. You go, hello.
Because they love
nice
being
to meet you.
groomed.
Yeah, they like being pet.
Are they
and
the
you
smartest
feed
animal
them.
after chimpanzee? I believe.
Well, they can paint. They might be smarter than chimps. You know, like they can paint things. They can't solve complex puzzles like chimps do. Chimps can spell things. Chimps can do a lot of stuff, but they remember their loved ones, their family members for like
they have funerals.
Decades and decades.
Yeah. It kills me.
They've reintroduced ones after like, you know, more than 10 years apart, and they recognize each other instantly, and they run and hug, and they're rubbing trunks and everything. It's
they're
wild.
Dinosaurs.
Well, there's something
They're the
interesting.
closest we have to fucking dinosaurs, and you look at them, and there's this place, Pazark, that
I don't think they've been around that long.
interesting. I mean, but they feel
Yeah,
like
well,
the way
they're-
they move, like it is
Yeah.
like Jurassic Park.
They're special. There's something special.
It's snuffleupagus.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also like,
Just the fact that something exists like that, that's so goddamn big, and yet it'll, like, if you're nice to it,
gentle.
like, here's the thing. It's like you really can't keep a fucking tiger as a pet in an open area, but you can in Thailand with these elephants. Like, the relationship they have with people is very different. Like, that thing just walks up to you. You can pet it. There is not a fucking chance in hell you could do that with a tiger. There's not a chance in hell you would let one of your friends or your children get on a tiger.
I mean, and if they do, anyone touching any apex predator, that's abuse. They have to take the cub from the mom right
Yes.
away. They have to dart the mom with a tranquilizer. Because when everyone's like, I'm holding a bear cub, I'm holding a tiger cub, it's like, you think that the mom just fucking willingly gave that shit up? No, and then it's not getting any of the breast milk, so they have all these autoimmune issues, and their spines don't develop properly. So the place that I work with in Alpine, it's all these bears that have been in cub petting as adults, and they can't really walk well. They're all fucked up. It's once you see the aftermath of what happens with any kind of tiger bear. I mean, they have about 6 months, and they just send them off to either
Yeah.
get killed or to get can hunting or whatever that stuff is, where they just put
They hunt tigers?
They put a tiger or a lion that's never been in the wild, that's only been held by humans.
They definitely do that with lions in Africa.
In these canned hunting facilities, and the lion sees a person, is like, hey, what's up? And then someone shoots it.
Exactly.
And you're like, well, that's not hunting. That's
No.
that's fucking fish in a
Not
barrel.
only that, the lion doesn't go very far from where they release it because it doesn't have a territory, so
But
it
it
doesn't
sees
know
a
where to
human,
go.
and it's like, oh, I'm about to get a Big Mac from this human.
I don't think they think that
That
way.
would- or sorry, they go, that's a Big Mac.
I think immediately if they see a person, they want to kill it.
But when they-
the point is, it's like it's not really hunting. It's not like you're going into the wild animals. They literally let it go a day or two before the hunt.
But you've seen tippy hedron and these things where they bottle raise them, so they're not
Yes.
going to attack someone that bottle raised them. Or
I don't think they do that on those farms. Have
Right.
you ever seen Louis Theroux? His
I love
documentary.
him.
I love him too. I've had him on a couple times, and
I love his. Yeah,
He's been on twice.
the Scientology one. No, he's been on a couple times. I love him.
But he had a great special that he did about going to these hunting camps in Africa where they raise these animals specifically to be released and hunted. And he stayed there for a long time. Like, he's so thorough. He got in with this guy and got very close with this guy that was running this, and he got him irritated to the point where the guy was like, Africa is fucked. And this guy was talking about why he did it. And he's like, it's fucked. And he's like, these animals are fucked. And he was basically explaining the only way these animals have any value is if they're worth money to kill.
Right.
That's why there's high populations of them, which is really wild because they used to be on the verge of extinction, a lot of them. And they've regrown their numbers substantially just because there's businesses that are designed so that people can, that's the guy, so people can go over there and hunt these animals.
Did you see? There was just to be the try to understand this from all sides, which I obviously have done so much to try and empathize with. There was an article. I don't remember what op-ed it was, but I think it was a mother from Kenya that wrote an op-ed about why we don't cry for lions, because in a lot of areas, that's like, you're not afraid of, men or guns. You're afraid of a lion attacking
Oh,
your
yeah.
child on their way home from school.
Or you.
Yeah, and it was a very interesting thing where it's like, oh, I'm so far removed of what it's like to just have wild lions around my home. Fuck that. I'd fucking
That's
shoot
the
one in
thing.
the face if I had to.
But that's the thing, Whitney, because they're not a general threat to us. They're a threat if we run into them, but we're not going to encounter a lion. So we think of them as something that we need to protect.
That's right.
But if we were living in the wild
Fuck that.
and they were out there with us, we would want to kill them and hunt them.
I do with coyotes all the time. When coyotes come up, I'm like, coyotes are so cool, and I honor
to
them.
eat your dog.
As soon as they get near my dog, I'm gonna fucking strangle them with my bare hands. But I also like to just respect and honor, because it's just cool. It's.
Yeah.
I also think that the way that we because people always like think that they can change everyone's mind with an Instagram post or a fucking tweet. Be kind to people, dude. There's certain people that are
That works on me.
It doesn't. You just like read an Instagram and you're like, oh, I guess I'm going to change my vote now that a Hollywood actress posted
Yeah.
about it. Whereas like it's the way that our brains are wired. So when people talk about these like big issues and think they're going to be solved with one fucking tweet or even one vote for a candidate, it's like you're going to have to rewire the way people see power, like the way that kids see powerful things enslaved at such a young age. They're saying, oh, if I'm more powerful than something, I can just use it for my own amusement. So a lot of psychiatrists talk about how seeing these powerful animals at such a young age confined shows them like, yeah, I can use things for my own benefit if I have power. And then people talk about abuse of power, but they don't talk about that most kids, the way their brain is developed, they're watching it on animals first.
Well, the only attraction to wanting to control a big, strong animal like that is to show that you have dominance over the scariest thing that's out there.
That's right.
That's all it is, right? It's like it's why it's a male thing in some ways because you show you're a badass, and a female in some ways where it shows you're protected already.
But you're a badass if you're Crocodile Dundee and just doing it out of nowhere. If you've been injecting it with morphine since it was a baby and you put it in a cage and electrocute it all the time, that's not dominance.
Yeah, for sure. But there's a thing that people like to just be close to it. You know, when I was in Thailand and we did the elephant thing was kind of cool because you see they were free, but the tiger thing was not cool at all.
Because a lot of them are sedated.
100%.
Yeah.
So
sucks.
there's like puppy or cubs rather,
Nope.
and the cubs are loose. They're wild. They jump around. They swat at you. They roll around, and you feel them. You're like, oh my god, you're like a week away from being able to kill me. Like it's weird. Tiger cubs are weird.
Yeah.
Because they're these little murderers, you know, but they're like small enough. You're like, hey, fuck off.
Even a Savannah cat. Do you know about Savannah
Oh,
cats?
yeah.
I know someone who was trying to get a new home for a Savannah cat because he got 2 Savannah cats and it just destroyed his entire house. And his just saying hi to the kid, it would just rip half of its eyelid off.
Yeah.
And it's just trying to snuggle. You know, these things are fucking monsters.
They're little murderers. I mean, they're designed to eat whatever the fuck can't run as fast as they do.
Dude, and when you see a panther and a cheetah at this fucking Texas roadside zoo, it just drives me nuts. But there is in Northern California a place called Paws-Ark. There's elephant. It's not really doesn't do visits, but we could fucking go and you see these like lions and tigers in what they call tolerable cruelty, and you see them free in action.
Wow, that's a funny expression.
Tolerable cruelty is what we try.
Do they let them kill animals?
Yes.
They do.
Yeah,
that's heavy.
They get dogs from animal shelters and just throw them in. I'm kidding. I'm joking.
Oh my god.
That's what a fuck.
But here's the thing. Why would that bother me more than a goat? Because it would. If you said yes, they release goats, I'd be like, well, fuck those goats. But if you said they release golden retrievers,
because that's
if I saw my dog
Marshall, buddy.
If Marshall was walking throughout, well, I guess this is
I'd shoot
a
everyone
new
in the
place
face.
to walk, and then Marshall sees a lion running his way. He's like, hello, friend.
What is the plan? Because I was in Texas. There's bears.
There are some black bears in Texas.
Black bears are the ones you do not play dead. Grizzly, you play dead.
Well, listen, it's all nonsense.
Oh, really?
If a bear decides to fuck you up, they fuck you up.
Whether
when a
it's
grizzly is trying to play, if you play dead as if she has cubs, she just wants to remove a threat. She's not trying to eat you, but she might be hungry. So if she's hungry, she tries to eat you. So your hope is that she just thinks she's removing a threat and you could play dead when she's not hungry. But if she's hungry and she already killed you, she'll fucking eat you. She'll try you out. They eat each other.
Here's the big. Did you ever see that documentary, Grizzly Man?
Yeah.
You know.
I love it. It's my favorite unintentional comedy.
Did you ever hear the
No, it's not real.
The audio?
No, it's not real.
No,
it's fake. Yeah, there's no released. Werner Herzog deleted all of the footage, including the audio. Well, there was only audio, but the camera lens was on. The lens cover was on. Werner Herzog listened to it and decided to never release it. So there's a fake one that's out there on the internet. But it's once you know it's fake, you listen, you're like, oh, you want to hear it? Let's hear it because it sounds so cool. Can we hear it or we get in trouble?
A friend of mine is this guy, Ned Zeman, who wrote the first article. I think he heard it, the real one, and had to take it off like right away.
That's how Werner Herzog was. That's why he said, do not release this.
Didn't finish it.
Yeah, he said, do not release this. You know, Werner Herzog. He's made many amazing documentaries and films, and the one on the cave paintings in France. Have you ever seen that one?
No, cool.
It's really good, but I think Grizzly Man is his magnum opus.
Is it true that because he was buddies with the bears, whatever that means, and he brought a girl who was on her period?
No, that's not.
That's not what happened?
No, definitely not. 100% not. What happened was there was an old bear that it was going into hibernation very late because it didn't have enough fat. It was still hungry.
Ooh, but he had his girlfriend or something with him.
It didn't matter. The girlfriend didn't matter.
I just mean it's just funny to me that he's like, hey, come check this out.
No, there's like I'm not 100% sure on what I'm saying, but what my understanding is from talking to guides and people that really understand wildlife management, bears and animals, there's a certain time where you don't want to encounter them in the wild because they're desperate. So if it's that cold out and they haven't gone into hibernation yet, they might be desperate for calories.
And he might have had food out. He might have had
Little
jerky
cow,
open.
yeah,
he might have
that's
had that
his little
Hot
buddy.
Pocket fired up on the grill.
He had that little fox buddy. He made friends with a fox.
I love foxes.
It was my favorite part of the movie. Other than when the sheriff called him retarded. Did you see that part? I thought he was retarded. Did you see that? The sheriff was like, why are you hanging around with these bears in the middle of the fucking woods? Like, what are you doing? You're camping there for months at a time? Well, at the end of this guy's life, he shouldn't have been there because he was in the late fall time where the bears are supposed to already be hibernating. So the bears that are out are fucking desperate, and one of them just decided to kill him.
You get arrogant with these animals. It's something.
Yeah.
A lot of these fake charities that I'm obsessed with fucking with. Oh, is this the thing?
Oh, is this the fake volume? This is the fake voice? Just hear how fake that is?
That's not real.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There you go. Shut
That's
it up.
Don Barris doing his set.
That's Don Barris.
Yeah,
killing.
that's fucking Brian Holzman doing his next record.
But this fucking guy, what he was doing was against all sound like practices if you're going to be around apex predators.
Yeah.
There's a system set in place, and the system is to recognize people that are straying from the herd. Whether it's an animal or a person, anybody who's doing something stupid, you're fucking up.
That's right.
So there's a thing that happens, right? As it gets older, the animal gets less and less viable, so it starts attacking males because it's jealous. That happens with giraffes, with a lot of animals. Like, even if they're not sexually viable anymore, they have to remove them from the population. They've done that with rhinos, even though rhinos are endangered, because one male rhino that's no longer viable was killing multiple rhinos.
Wow.
There was a famous case where Corey Knowles, a guy who was on this podcast who talked about it with us, he had bid to be the guy who killed this rhino, and everybody was like, this is crazy, you want to kill a rhino? There's only like 5,000 of them. He's like, you don't understand.
This rhino's killing more rhinos.
You have to kill this rhino. They're going to kill this rhino no matter what, because it costs more money to transport this rhino to another place than it does to kill it. And if you do transport to another place, you have to put it in isolation, because if it's around other males, it's going to kill them.
Yeah.
So he was explaining this like, this is really complicated shit, and he paid, I think it was like $250,000, something crazy, to go and kill a rhino. And CNN went with him and followed him when he did it. But it was an opportunity for him to sort of educate them. Like, yeah, there's these places where there's these canned hunts where they let lions out, but there's also moments where, as a conservationist,
it's culling the herd.
they have to do something about this crazy rhino that can't fuck anymore, and he's killing the other rhinos.
Right.
Because one guy will kill. He already killed 2, and he was on the way to killing more. Here it is.
There's in
So this is Corey Knowlton. I'm sorry, I said Corey Knowles. Corey Knowlton. And Corey talked about it on the podcast. He's like a super rational guy. Now, I should state really clearly, this is not something I'd want to do. I don't want to go and kill a rhino. But they ate that rhino too. That's the other thing. The people that, like the local villagers, apparently like elephants and rhinos taste delicious. It sounds crazy.
That is, I mean, I remember going, there's still ivory around. Do you know that on the list of when you're married, the gift you give every year, it's like wood.
Ivory's on the list?
Ivory's on that fucking list. It drives me nuts.
wild.
But and when I love La Jolla Comedy Store, one of my favorite places on the planet to perform. But when I walk around La Jolla, there's like ivory in the galleries in the window, and you're just like, what the
Real
fuck?
ivory?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Wild. So
Does it matter with ivories on the piano? I would imagine it doesn't, because it's not the ivory that
that
makes
can't
the
be
sound.
real.
Oh, it used to be. Whitney, that was all pianos. It was tickling the ivories.
Oh,
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah.
But also elephants. I know that in because sometimes I go in with I'm like, oh, I'm gonna build a new enclosure for there's this guy Ed Stewart in Northern California who shut down Barnum and Bailey, and they fucking Barnum and Bailey, they have $1 billion. I mean, they made so much money off that shit, and they're in Florida now. And he shut him down, and he was harassed The neighbors were paid to fuck with him and sue him and
Really?
poison animals. It's what there's so much money in animal exhibition on getting a bear to sit on a fucking beach ball. There's so much money in it, and these people are criminals. I mean, that guy Doc Antle that was all over the Tiger King documentary.
Which one's Doc
The
Antle?
one that runs the remember the Osho cult, like the Wild Wild Country.
Oh, yeah?
He's part of that. His name
What?
is Bhagwan Antle.
Oh, he's a part of the Osho cult?
Oh, dude,
I didn't know that.
The guy is a fucking psychopath, and he has a record. He's killed someone. I mean,
First of all, I think he's a living god, and I think you're out of line.
I think
I don't think he killed anybody. Did he kill somebody?
he said, "Look, dude, this motherfucker is such a fucking psychopath."
He's a pimp. Was that Amy Schumer?
Bullshit.
That's not,
Stop.
right? Who's that guy in the back?
I can't. I didn't hear you. I'm deaf in my left ear from the back.
That's Rusty Dooley in the back.
And that's not it. That is Tony Hinchcliffe in the back.
It's Tony. It's the golden pony.
They're exhibiting a golden pony down.
Is that
in-
Jessica Curson?
And dude, Jessica Curson is so fucking funny.
I met her the other night. She's really nice.
Dude, her tweets are hilarious.
Everybody keeps telling me, I've not seen her act, but everybody keeps telling me how fucking funny
Dude,
she is.
love
and
her.
I met her the other night, and she's the sweetest,
Killer.
purest person, like so
Killer.
friendly.
Last night, Tim Dillon was showing me her first Tonight Show set from 11 years ago. It was fucking hilarious now. He was like, this is one of the best.
Who was
Tonight
hosting the Tonight Show 11 years ago?
Guess it was Jay Leno.
Okay.
He was in the
How long do you
back.
think Jimmy Fallon hangs on there?
after
rough
the,
gig.
after the blackface thing?
Oh.
Here's what I'll say.
He didn't know.
Why didn't Lorne Michaels apologize for that? It wasn't just there's tons
Right.
of writers on the show. That felt like he was out there just being like, I'm sorry I did that, when there's a lot of people. Someone applied the makeup.
Well, it's just we have to recognize as a culture there's a difference between the way people think of blackface today versus people think of blackface 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I'm super for it. I've done a lot of stupid shit. I haven't done that one.
I just think if you're on a television show where there's tons of writers that wrote, like everyone should have said, we were off that.
Imagine, hold on for a second. Imagine if you wanted to do a film about Al Jolson. You know who Al Jolson was?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Al
yeah.
Jolson was like the most famous
Yes.
of the guys who were minstrel singers who
That's right.
dressed up and put on like crazy blackface, not like regular blackface,
like the
yeah,
big
look at
lips
that. Yeah, look
and
at that there. Cartoonish blackface.
That's right.
Now, if somebody wanted to do look at that fucking crazy picture.
Wild.
Imagine that this was like a style. Jamie, just pull that out.
This
so
was
we
a
can see it.
style of entertainment.
This is a style of entertainment. Like,
Yes.
look at this. Now, look, and this is like historically.
Right.
This is actually an important part of our culture. 'Cause
Right.
we don't address this.
Is that
We don't
Justin
look
Trudeau?
At this. I don't think that is. He was brown face. You're
Dude,
out.
Justin Trudeau's was applied so impeccably.
Pretty good.
Doesn't feel like the first time he done it.
It was like some
Dude, it was like around his nail bed
10,000
perfectly.
10,000
it was
hour
like
shit. Look at that. Look at that picture.
brutal. I
What does that
remember
say?
the
Downs it again and what?
This is an
Wait, is
older
that-
version of him.
Oh my God,
He put
I
it
thought that was
back
Rodney
on for some
Dangerfield.
reason.
An editorial stock. Oh, so this was like his thing. We would go places like later on in his life. He's way older there.
Yeah.
Better
hot take.
cameras.
Very weird.
Hot take. Jimmy
Good.
Fallon should play Al Jolson
That's what I'm saying.
in the movie directed by Spike Lee.
Oh, Jesus. But here's my thought. Like, you couldn't get someone to do that. This is how the robots are going to win. CGI is going to create a digital blackface, and it will do so under, like, you know how like an elevator door is closing or like a garage door is closing and you slide in right under the, right
Indiana
before
Jones.
it closes? Yeah, right. With the big stone wall.
Yeah.
That's what this is going to be. This is going to be digital blackface. You're going to be able to do it because it's not a real person. And it'll be a digitally generated voice, so we don't have to worry about anybody being an actual racist pretending. It'll all just be CGI that shows us as Al Jolson. So all these actors are going to have to act with it's be like
Tennis
Jurassic
ball.
Park.
Yeah.
You know Jurassic Park? You
Yeah.
got to pretend the dinosaur's there, but there's no dinosaur there. They're going to have to pretend Al Jolson is there. They're going to have to interact with no one. They read their lines. The fake Al Jolson isn't even there because they're going to CGI him in later.
Right, dude. Let me remember.
And they're going to realize he's really good. He's better than Brad Pitt. I'm just going to say it. The digital
The
Al
computer,
Jolson,
by the way,
he's fucking amazing.
that is
he's
made
so hot.
by Lex Friedman. I want to fuck this.
It's going to be totally Lex Friedman.
What happened to the 3D? Remember at Coachella they had a 3D.
Tupac.
Tupac,
Yeah.
and maybe
way too jacked. Like Tupac went to CrossFit. Remember?
Like,
There's like
he
Tupac.
was on that
He was
on
built
it
like
diet.
Yoel Romero.
was-
Like
yeah.
he was so jacked.
Even Tupac fans were like, okay, easy.
Settle down.
Easy.
Tupac,
He wasn't
yeah.
doing creatine.
It was a good-looking guy, but I mean, this is
Do you remember
He's a dedicated person your image of.
Zoe Saldana played Nina Simone? This was
really?
like the thing, remember? And they put some makeup on her. She's half black, and they just came for her recently.
For what?
To just
Oh,
go,
to do
you're
that?
half black, and you played Nina Simone, and you
fucked up.
You do look at it, and you're kind of like, oh, that was a while. Like someone walked onto set, and no one was like, you know. But
Nina Simone is someone that Dave Chappelle listens to right before he goes on stage over and over and over again on a loop. He does it all the time.
yeah, that's an incredible fucking
And he rants
story.
about it. He's backstage pacing before we go up, and he's playing Nina Simone. It's like, do you understand how fucking strong this material is? Do you understand how strong this song is? Like, look at this performance. Look at the magic in this. Like, he's like,
And you and I are
he
just like, do we need to take a
revels-
shit?
No, he revels in like other people's greatness. Like he's watching this Nina Simone thing, and he's just ranting. I'm not doing it justice. If you were there and you saw how much reverence he had for this recording and this film, and he would play it over and over again. He's got a giant boombox he brings with him, one of those JBL
Yeah.
giant. It's called a boombox. I have one in my gym. They're the shit. They're really loud. You can throw them in the ocean. They're waterproof.
Jesus.
But it's he carries that thing everywhere. So he's playing this. So it's crystal clear sound, and he's got the video playing on his phone for the YouTube. And you're like, fuck.
Wow.
And he's just it's something about not just the performance of Nina Simone, but Dave Chappelle taking in that performance of Nina Simone and like circling. Like Dave's got a cigarette in his hand. He's pacing in a circle, talking about how amazing it is. Magic.
Someone's got to shoot. I mean, that is like, that
Just let
must
it
be
just
like chills
memories.
down my spine.
Just memories. is
What's
good
your
enough.
number one pre-show song?
Oh, there was a lady on stage once at the Improv, and she was bombing, and it was unfortunate. And she
It was me.
No, it wasn't you. It was someone who was real recent to the game, and she was on stage, and she would like have like a premise, and she wouldn't follow through, and they were short, and she didn't expand on an idea. And she was going from one premise to a completely unrelated premise. It was clunky, and she wasn't doing well. And I was going on two from there, like with one other person and me. And I looked at the schedule, and me and the DJ, we were, like, Urgh. And I go, it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. And so, so later on that night, I was going on stage like,
So good, so good.
it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll.
So good.
So that's what I do every time I'm on stage now. That's my opening song, is A Long Way to the Top.
I love that Pavlovian thing. And when I hear like the song I'm going up to outside of stand-up, I'm like, no, I don't want to hear it anywhere except when I'm going on. Turn it off. Getting paid. Do you have a power song when you're working out that's like your last mile of running, your journey, your fucking...
You want to hear the most embarrassing thing about me?
Kesha.
I've seen John Wick 150 times.
Love it.
In a row at times, or it's fights or John Wick, and I put it on the scene where they're going into the bathhouse and he kills everybody.
Yes.
Right after the fight, when he finds out who the guy is who killed his dog and stole his car.
By the way, I'm all for that movie because he's all about saving a pit bull. I would spray people with bullets if they fuck with my pit bulls.
What's a little beagle puppy that he kills? The bad people kill a beagle puppy first, then he gets a pit bull later in the movie.
Beagle's the
Spoiler alert.
most tested. The most tested on animals in labs because they're the most forgiving.
Oh, I believe that.
Yeah, Beagle
That's
Freedom
sad.
Project is what I work with. I work with these beagles and they got all the numbers tattooed on their ears and stuff.
Yeah, that's his little puppy.
Oh, buddy!
That's his little whether it's a beagle or it looks like a beagle, whatever it is, it's a cute
Why is
little dog.
Keanu Reeves so hot?
Because he's sweet. He's kind.
He's sweet.
That's why. He's kind. He's genuinely kind.
You are too. A lot of people don't know it, but you are too.
Yeah, but I'm more primitive. I'm clunky.
But the more primitive someone is, the more emotional you kind of have to be to navigate. Like,
Yeah.
Your Instagram post, I almost shed a tear when you came out of the sauna.
It's true.
Big
I always
softy.
want to talk about it like right when I get out, because right when I get out, I'm like extraordinarily vulnerable. Because
You're on your deathbed. You're about to pass
I'm about
on.
to die. I'm 26 minutes into. It was like 202 degrees or some shit. It's fucking hot.
Do you have someone waiting,
No,
standing by?
no nets, Whitney. There's no nets. This is how you do things.
Okay.
There's no nets.
No.
No nets for anything.
Okay.
There's no nets.
All right.
You can't have nets.
You can't.
Can't have someone outside the door with a fucking.
Well, didn't someone?
Are you okay in there?
A
Hey, man.
fucking janitor or someone in Vegas died in a cryo freeze chamber.
Oh, she didn't know what she was doing. Unfortunately, what happened was, She was by herself.
Yeah.
And the nitrogen, rather, liquid nitrogen, you can't breathe that in. It's why it's supposed to be below your neck. And apparently she was short and she didn't adjust it correctly, and so she was breathing it in her mouth, and she passed out.
Brad Williams
and froze
should not
to
work
death.
at a cryo-freeze place.
Wow,
is what
I
you're
saw
saying.
something coming. I saw you were ready.
I know, I couldn't help it. I have like Tourette's. But let me ask you. Okay, so when I get in the sauna, because I started doing because of you. I have one in my house now. I get so high that I'm like, I'm only gonna do 20 minutes, but then I'm like, I'm gonna do fucking more. Like there's a high that comes over you. I don't feel like I can make good decisions when I'm in there.
Well, this is my take on this. And then, again, I always have to express that I'm not a doctor and I'm not even smart.
What?
But I do know some stuff. And one of the things that I know is that inflammation is a gigantic problem with people. That thing that you posted up before about hearing loss during COVID because of inflammation. It was like related to that, but related to COVID. They think it has to do with inflammation. That's the thing with, Dana White had Meniere's disease.
This is tinnitus.
Tinnitus is very similar. Meniere's disease is very similar as well. It's like there's a ringing in the ear and it drives you crazy.
Right.
And they think it's related to inflammation. And one of the best things for inflammation is a sauna. Because your body makes these heat shock proteins, and it relieves so much inflammation. It changes the way you feel. You feel so much better.
Unreal. And people ask, since I've been doing it, people think I got like a facelift, which I will at some point, and I will let you know. You guys don't have to wonder.
I don't think you have to. I think they're going to come up with some new shit.
Well, I'm doing the peptides.
Just hang in there.
Yeah, that's my thing. By the time I need it, they will have figured something out, But Joan Rivers did fine for herself.
We're on the wave. She did not do fine. We were on the wave.
She killed on QVC.
I was high as fuck once at the Brea Improv, and I was waiting to go on stage. I'm like way too high to the point where, fortunately, I knew my act because it was risky. It was like very dangerous.
Yeah, and
Joan Rivers was on television.
This is
clip
bad
this one
news.
down
I
there.
have hairspray.
Joan Rivers was on television with her television show on with her daughter. And I've always been a giant Joan Rivers fan in terms of her stand-up. She's fearless, and she never stopped.
My
never
first
stopped.
roast was Joan Rivers, and to me, the way a comic can take a fucking joke. This is the thing that annoys me the most about comics now. Comics like, why are you saying that, dude? You're a comic. We're supposed to say anything to each other. I miss the roast so fucking much, and I said to Joan on my first roast, first time I'd ever met her, I said, Joan, I loved you in The Wrestler. And she laughed harder than anyone. And then I said, Joan Rivers is so old, her pussy has a separate entrance for black cocks. And she laughed. She laughed. She laughed so fucking hard. I'm like, that's a real comic. And then she had so much plastic surgery that people were looking at her like, I don't know if she's getting offended or not. And she went, I'm laughing. This is me laughing. I have Botox. You just can't see it. I'm laughing.
It's the filler that's weird.
She subtitled her face.
Yeah.
And she like that. And then she came up to me afterwards and she was like, that was fucking incredible. And true comics can respect, they don't get jealous of other comics killing.
Well, as she got older, she got more dedicated to the game and recognized like the value of not giving a fuck. And that was a big part of who she is. She's just like, she was in the Hall of Fame when it comes to like comedians. I mean, Joan Rivers has been around for a long ass time, but even so, and later in her life, she was like, "Oh, I understand what this is. Like, I have to be dedicated to this, and I have to be dedicated."
Make myself the butt of the joke.
Yeah, and also other people take the fucking hit, and that there was a value in that, and that people appreciated it and loved it. And what was that picture? Would you pull up
the piece of work? That documentary called Piece of Work.
I've heard it's really good.
Well, the documentary.
What year is that, man?
50s.
Does it say?
Remember, she had a fucking talk show.
Oh yeah.
After she was on,
Well, here's the thing. I always get fucking mad at Johnny Carson because apparently her and Johnny Carson had some weird thing, and she guest hosted the Tonight Show at certain points, and I guess Johnny was threatened by her.
Because she went to Fox and did hers.
Yeah, but Johnny was mad. Instead of being like, that's great, everybody, let's all do it together.
That is what is so different about you, Joe. I don't think people truly understand that there's such a scarcity complex in everyone. There's so few of us, and we've been taught to believe there's so few slots. Like there's one person that gets the big deal at Montreal or Aspen, and it's me fucking against you. It's me against you, and you are one of the few fucking comics that is so psyched to lift people up, and then they get successful on their own. It's not a threat to you. I mean, you're also Joe Rogan, so what would threaten you? But it is so fucking rare that even super successful comics help other comics.
Well, I think more do it now than ever before because of the internet.
Yeah.
Whether it's me or other folks that have the same idea without even thinking about how I do it. It's like we realize through the internet that it's not a scarcity complex anymore. It's not. It's like when I first was on television, it was in 1994 or something with news radio, and there was only. What was there? There was like
4 networks.
4 networks, and then there was like cable networks that people didn't take seriously.
4 networks and like 3 slots on TGIF Friday.
So if everyone was going out for auditions, what happened with pilot season would roll around, and you would get an agent, and then we'd all meet out here. And we do the store or we do the Laugh Factory or what have you, and we would talk about pilots. Like everyone was going out for things. And if like you were going out for a thing, oh, you going out for that thing? Like, yeah, I'm going out for that thing. And we would both be going out for it together. And the thing could change your life, right? Like if someone who I was really close with was going out for news radio when I was on news radio, it would have scared the shit out of me.
Wow.
Because that decision to pick me over maybe one of my best friends. Like imagine if me and Brian Callen were both going out for news radio at the same time.
And you're both in the same casting
It would have been
room.
a real issue. It would have been a real issue because Brian is a brilliant actor.
God,
he's really
so
fucking funny.
Good. He's
really
good.
funny. So if he and I were in the same, it'd be a real problem because at the time when I didn't know him in '94, but he became one of my best friends. But imagine if I did know him.
Right.
Imagine if he was my best friend
No
and we were
way.
both going for the same gig. It'd be
By
a
the
real
way, going
problem.
for the same cut of meat is
Yeah,
what it is.
that's what it is.
It's really, this is going to pay off my
Right,
debt. This is
right.
going to get me a fucking apartment, a place to live. I can finally have a girlfriend and pay for her dinner.
Change is everything. You go from being a guy who didn't know if he was going to be pay his rent to a person that folks want to meet. They want to meet you. They want to meet you. They like, hey, I want to meet you, Whitney. They want to meet you.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on here? Now, your friend Sally, who was also going up for that fucking same role, but you were a little charminger. The producers got together and like, I think we go with Whitney. I agree. Whitney. It's Whitney. They high five. Sally's life is fucking ruined.
And then I have to see her every night at the Comedy Store. She
that
hates
bitch,
me.
she hates you.
There's 2 slots. And
Sometimes people hate you if you don't even have anything to do with what they do. They just hate the fact that you have taken off.
And let me ask you, is that what's the primordial biological basis for that? Is that like,
Starvation.
yes, it's less food for me.
Yes.
Or you're the chief of a different tribe.
Yes, it's starvation. It's starvation. But it's also a test. It's a test of your overall ability to perceive things outside of what's directly in front of you and to play the long game.
Right.
And to realize, like, what is really important? What are the moments you cherish the most? The moments we all cherish the most are moments amongst friends and loved ones.
That's right.
All of us.
That's
every
right.
person. Well, I mean, even if you just go on stage and you rock out in front of like 150 people,
Heaven.
those people... They're now your friends. We've had a wonderful experience
We're
together.
in love,
We're
frankly.
in love. We're in love.
I can't get off stage now. I've been doing just like smaller venues, which I fucking love because I booked them before the big venues were open. So, and I don't want to cancel them. You know what I mean? These people, these clubs haven't gotten income. These waitresses haven't gotten fucking. I was just at the Houston Improv. I was at Spokane. I did 10 shows in the Spokane Comedy Club.
I heard that's great.
Dude, it's a perfect box. The acoustics, bah, 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 bah. It is so
I heard it's great.
It's like, it reminds me of the, remember the, of course you remember, the Comedy Connection. Those low-ass fucking
Yes.
ceilings, crack, crack,
In
crack,
Boston.
crack, crack.
It was perfect.
Cracks. And
Boston Comedy Connection was like 150 people.
dude,
That's all it was.
there was nothing like, I remember
Epic.
one time I saw Lenny Clark blow up that building in a way.
Was that the Faneuil Hall one or was that
Faneuil
the...
Hall, and it was like in a
Oh.
mall.
Okay,
Different
see,
one?
See, I'm before you. There was another one that was tiny. It was on Warrington Street. That's where I started. It was like 150 people. It was one of my best clubs that I worked at. It was so small.
Wow.
The ceiling was like 6'5".
Wow, that's
So
sick.
like some
That's
tall
sick.
person would be fucked.
Like
I
the
mean,
cellar
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it
Gary
was 7
Goldman
feet.
just couldn't do it.
Yeah, Gary Goldman would have a problem. He couldn't reach up. But if there was like maybe 7 feet, it was,
Mm-hmm.
it was. The point is, there's something about this low, tight box that's
Best.
really good for comedy. And I saw Bill Hicks go there. That was the first time I ever saw Hicks. I saw Hicks in that little room, and it was right after he did the Young Comedian special with Rodney. Mm-hmm. And he did this. I didn't know exactly who he was. Like, I remember him from that show, and I remember, I'll go see that guy. I was in town. I I had only been doing comedy for like maybe a year, like somewhere around there. And
Right.
he was there, and he was in that little tiny room, and he was doing this bit about Tiffany. You know, I think we're alone now.
Yeah, yeah,
Remember that
yeah,
girl?
yeah, yeah.
Meeting
The-
Jimi Hendrix
no
at the
one-
mall. And it was something about Jimi Hendrix coming to the mall to like shame Tiffany for her fucking little girl music.
But it was a fake, like
yeah, it was a
hypothetical.
bit. It was just a bit.
So random.
He was like doing like. He was doing this crazy bit about Jimi Hendrix meeting Tiffany at the mall, and I remember going, "Whoa!" It wasn't. Clearly, just to be completely honest,
Sure.
it wasn't the funniest thing I'd ever seen,
But
it was
that-
so interesting.
But the fucking balls to go in that direction and even spend time talking about something so random and specific.
Well, this was the thing. It was funny, but it also made me think. And it made me think of like, oh, okay, I need to reconsider what I think about stand-up comedy, because I think of comedy as being funny. It's ultimately just about being funny. It is
Interesting.
definitely sometimes about being funny, but I think it's like music. Like some music is just fucking old school Run DMC, and some music is, Liz Phair. Like
Right.
it's different. They're
Right.
different, but they're equally awesome. Like you need like there's something about laughing 100% at everything someone says, and then there's also something about someone doing something like Hicks did that you go, that's funny, but it's also wow, he's making me think.
Provocative.
He's making me really think about like what is mall music.
And this is you're like, something I've never thought about before. The same way we want to see pictures we've never seen. We want to see porn we've never seen. We want to see a pair of boobs we've never
Right.
seen or whatever. It's like, and I know this is a corny verb, but tickling a part of someone's brain. So like I watched, speaking of Gary Goldman, I watched his last hour. He was working out before the pandemic, and he did like 20 minutes on how mangoes have a low yield of fruit. And it was just, I was like, I've just never thought about this. I have notebooks and notebooks full of fucking jokes. Comedians,
Right.
we've seen everything. I've just like literally never thought about that before.
Patton Oswalt is my very favorite about doing that. He
Yeah.
takes premises that I would never see becoming a bit, and he makes them these like elaborate, like really well written, thought out bits. Like what the fuck? Like I remember, like was the werewolves one? What was it? What was the name of that one album? Something about werewolves and lollipops. But in that one in particular, I was like, God, it's so admirable the way he explores premises.
Commits and milks from
Yeah.
every angle, something that you probably haven't
It's
even given in.
writing. It's writing.
Natasha Leggero, I remember once said something. I remember when I first started doing stand-up at this place called M Bar in LA. Because we started in bars and bowling alleys and sushi restaurants and shit in LA. So when people are always like, LA's not hardcore comedy, it's like, dude, have you ever done comedy in a fucking bowling alley? Like, it is not a game. And Miyagi's, we used to do stand-up at, I remember remember when Duncan Trussell used to bring a fucking puppet on stage?
Yes, Little Hobo. Do you know somebody stole Little Hobo?
No.
Yeah, he had to get a new one. Somebody stole his Little Hobo.
Someone out there has Little Hobo
Yeah,
and is probably listening to this
By
right
the
now.
way, the tinfoil hat people think that I'm a Satanist because I went to Duncan Trussell performing his special, his thing with Little Hobo at what was the guy's name? The Satanist, Anton LaVey's son. It was Stanton LaVey and Anton LaVey. Anyway, a Satanist. Duncan performed at a Satanist wedding, and I went. And I was with the dude going like this. You're a fucking
Was it cool?
Satan."
That sounds fun as shit.
Well, it was fun. It was Duncan doing his Little Hobo thing. Because Little Hobo was a character that he did. It was his grandpa's ventriloquist dummy who killed his grandpa. And Duncan doesn't realize it until he's about to put Little Hobo to bed. Like he's supposed to bury Little Hobo with his grandpa. I mean, there it is. That's
the
young me.
Satanist
That's
on the right?
2001 me. Yeah, that's the Satanist on the right.
Uh-oh. I
That
feel like
fellow with the demon head.
Do
you think that he takes his skin suit off and he becomes like some sort of reptile?
I don't know, but that reminds me of a friend of mine. I'm just going straight fucking gossip. A friend of mine worked with David Copperfield and said that after shows, when they would tour, he'd go out on the balcony to like have a cigarette and look over at David Copperfield's hotel, the outdoor, and there would be a skin muscle suit hanging over the railing to dry off.
Oh, he wears a muscle suit?
Like a full body
To make
muscle
it-
suit underneath his
I saw one of
clothes.
these Instagram videos the other day where a girl was about to do like a fitness video, and they took these like fake boob gel things, you know, those little things.
Chicken cutlets.
Those chicken cutlets.
Yeah.
And they stuck it in her buttocks, and they made her buttocks stick out.
But she put him in. I wear sometimes.
You want to see it? I think I have it.
I sometimes wear butt pad underwear. I started doing it a little bit.
Congratulations.
I did it during the pandemic a couple times because I was not doing squats the way I was supposed to be doing squats, and I was just too embarrassed about my pancake ass during the
I'm going
pandemic.
to send you this, Jamie. I'm going to send you this, Jamie.
We do hold on real quick about Joan Rivers. I have that pinned in my brain because she was one of the first comics when they're like, oh, she sold out and went on the red carpet. She was fucking roasting celebrities to their face, saying, fuck you, Hollywood, you never embraced me. Now I'm just gonna make fun of you and make a career out of that.
Yes.
That was ballsy as fuck at the time.
Yes.
She was not one of those comedians that was like, I'm doing comedy
No,
just to get a
she's
TV show or just.
She's a beast. Jamie, I'm going to send you something that's equally ballsy.
Wait, are they? Okay.
So look at this lady. They're
no.
sticking these chicken
no.
cutlets
Oh,
in her
no.
buttocks.
And what's the? But what's?
They're making her butt
it's
muscles
just
stick out.
for the Instagram.
Look at this. Look at this.
Okay, for the gram.
Bam. So here's what you need to know. They actually do this with operations. So this girl, what she's doing right now, making her buttocks stick out more.
Implants, you mean?
Yeah, they do that with buttocks.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
actually do a bag, like a titty bag, in your buttocks.
Well, there's a couple ways. Okay, so there's one that redistributes the fat in your body and injects it in your butt, but you can burn that off.
Yeah, that's scary because that makes oatmeal.
Well, because they're. Dude. That visual really just fucking ruined my day.
Sorry. Think of brown sugar.
But remember, we've texted shit back and forth of like, is it like
Yeah.
a lot of Russian models that just inject cement into their ass?
They died. People died. There was one that I sent you where this lady got a horrible infection and she died, and her skin had literally like rot. She had developed necrosis on her ass because someone had did some sort of like fucking backyard caulking gun
Ugh.
ass injection thing, and this poor lady, she died. She had this horrible infection.
Yeah, no
It's like,
shit.
But here's the thing: it's like, just go do squats.
Well, aren't there? You tell me. Are
Yeah.
there limits to how? Like when I see an ass, like these girls that like work out like crazy. I try to do it. I have a trainer. Is there a limit to how my genetics will
Yes.
allow my ass to look?
Yes, without pharmacological intervention.
Right.
There's a limit.
Right,
And you
right.
don't want that pharmacological intervention because it'll introduce, male hormones.
Because it's about to get. Oh, interesting. It's about getting. Because I am obsessed with having a bigger, stronger ass. Just in general, can I tell you, on stage as I get older and as physical as I'm doing this bit right now about how I love dating. I'm dating a younger guy now, but I love dating older guys because their music. Every now and then you get to listen to R. Kelly by accident. And it's not your fault. Like
Trapped in the closet.
You get like a free listen to Ignition, and like you're not like supporting a sexual predator because they just didn't hear about it on Yahoo News or whatever. And I do this whole dance on stage where I'm listening to R. Kelly for the first time in years, and I was like, I'm winded, dude. Stand-up's not athletic. I need to be in fucking shape to
Right.
be on stage. So I was trying to do all these squats, and I got that machine that you got where you lay down and like it's like a giant Kegel. your ankles go up behind you. Remember?
Reverse hyper.
Reverse hyper.
Giant Kegels, like that's a vagina exercise, right?
That's all. When I get on it, that's all I do.
Reverse hyper is for your lower back. That's why I'm confused. I'm like, how does this?
That makes so much sense. Why my ass hasn't gotten bigger and my lower back hurts.
Yeah. That's not how you develop your ass.
How do you get the top of your
Squats.
ass?
You want squats. Yeah, deep squats.
Not here and down.
Yeah, and I don't do anything other than kettlebell workout. I don't do. I'm not opposed to it. I'll do it occasionally, like some barbell stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I like things where I have to hold heavy weights independently. So if I have like a 70-pound in this one, a 70-pound in this one, I'll do a bunch of different shit where I'm. It makes me work as a unit.
Right.
But with the butt, the
Interesting.
thing about the butt is, well, you're trying to develop mass, and the only way to really develop.
Oh no! Oh no! Why are you posting photos of Annie
Jamie.
Letterman's not on this podcast today? Stop posting her nudes.
Jamie. That's boba. That's like that boba tea. That's
Cardi B is pretty open about having gotten wild, like random injections. Like a lot of strippers were just getting these injections.
She still looks good.
In Brooklyn, and then she just got the new ones. But
the new ones.
Yeah, because they were just getting filler in their butt. I would do that.
You don't need to do that. Just do squats. You want what you deserve. Understand me? You want what you deserve. You don't deserve someone like going, look at that ass, when it's a fucking water bag behind tissue that's been surgically sliced open and stitched up. Do you want to be that person? You want to live a dream? Why don't you just get a fucking Batman mask sewed to your neck and pretend you're Batman? You're
Works
not
for
Batman.
Rusty Dooley.
You're not Batman, and that's not your real ass. Okay? Stop. Just do some squats. There's a reason why men are attracted to a woman with a big ass.
What?
There's
Fertility.
two. Genetics, for fertility, and two, dedication to the game. Like,
So-
this she's hitting the gym so hard,
Right.
because she likes attention so much for looking good. When she goes out and she's got high heels on and a crazy granite booty, and she's walking.
Granite? Oh, got it.
Granite. You know,
Yes.
a woman with like thick thighs save lives.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Big ass, like that's
Lauren Sanchez.
You earn that ass.
Yep.
You earn it. That's the only way you
But
get it.
doesn't
You gotta
that
earn
also
it.
mean she's in the gym 3 hours a day? She must not have a job.
I don't need a girl with a job. Men don't need a girl with a job.
That was when Chris Rock had that whole thing after Tiger Woods, when everyone was like, he cheated with waitresses and bottle girls. And he was like, we don't care what you do.
That's a fact. That's a fact. This is what men want, legitimately. You to be interesting, compatible, and nice.
And chill.
But also we enhance each other. Like, I want you to have a good time. I want to have a good time. Like, let's figure. And if you can't, then we can't. This is not going to work out. Whether it's chemically, whether it's fucking oil and water, whatever the mixture is. Of some people it works, and some people it doesn't. And there's no magic formula. And like, there's people that I've met that they're like, yeah, man, my ex-girlfriend was a fucking asshole, but like now she's happily married to some other guy. Like, was she an asshole, or was she just an asshole in mixture with your personality?
That's right. It's really about when it's
Maybe
like
you're annoying.
My ex is crazy. My ex is crazy. The common denominator on your in all your crazy exes is fucking you. And I do think it's about finding whatever that compatible thing is. And you also are such a fucking good example. And I tell all my guy friends, you have such a full life, and you're one of the few people I know that when they got married, they didn't abandon all their guy friendships.
Well, you got to be careful with that, because there's a lot of guys that, like, for whatever reason, when they get married, they want everybody else to be married too. It's a weird thing.
It's so true.
They go,
It's
you
so
need to be
true.
married, bro. You need to be married. You need to be married, and you need to have a family. And I'm always like, listen, you don't have to do any of those things. Like, you can be a fulfilled person with no children.
Yes.
But for me personally, I will tell you that when I had children, it fucking profoundly changed me. And just becoming responsible and being a father and all that stuff, it shifts the way you perceive the world. And I've talked about this 100 times, but I'll say it one more time. I looked at people like they're babies. I never looked at people like they were babies before, because I only met people when they were whoever they were when I met them.
Yeah.
I never saw them grow up from babies. And when you see it for the first time, you see a baby, and then like 6 months later you see develop. You're like, oh my God. We're all babies, and we're blaming people for shit experiences. And for a lot of times, what develops you and what forms you, you have zero control over. And then all of a sudden, you're 25 and you're fucked, and you got a face tattoo, and you're like, what am I doing?
Yep.
You don't even know what you're doing, and it's barely your fault.
That's right.
And everybody wants to blame you.
That's right, because whatever blueprint you got, whatever
Yes.
conditioning you got, and it's taken me so long to realize that. I'm in a place of such radical forgiveness now, almost to the point of being too sort of a silver lining person. where I-
No. You're not. That's not true. You're in the right zone.
But when I just go, like when I look at people, cancel culture, vultures, or people that are making negative comments, and comics, whenever they come on my podcast, everyone just wants to talk about negative comments. And I'm like, look at these people as children that didn't get what they needed. These are people that were neglected, that were hurt, that were abused. Like, hurt people. Like, once you start looking people at people, their inner child, and stop pretending like they're mature adults, it's just, we're all just children in adult suits. You start not taking everything so fucking personally.
Yeah. When I talked to Robert Sapolsky, he's the guy. Do you know who he is? He's a Stanford professor. He's a really fascinating guy.
I stopped getting involved with Stanford professors.
But anyway, we'll talk about that later. He did a lot of work on toxoplasmosis, which I've been like really fascinated
The
by.
rat, the
yes,
cat.
the cat parasite. And I wanted to talk to him about that, but along the way, one of the things that he said that I thought was really profound, he said that the thing that he thinks would be the most looked upon, like when in the future when they look back on this era, the biggest mistake we made is making people responsible for all of their own actions.
I thought you were going to say Zoom comedy shows.
Well, listen, if you're doing a Zoom comedy show in May of 2021, you need to stop. You need to stop. You need to stop.
It's
now,
enough.
if you do regular shows too and you want to do it for a goof, okay. Okay. But if all you do is Zoom comedy shows, shh, give me a hug. Come give me a hug.
Call your dad.
Come give me a hug.
Call your dad, see what happened. Figure out what happened.
What were we just talking about?
GetBetterHelp.com. The toxoplasmosis.
Sapolsky was
blaming people for their choices.
He was talking about people blaming people for whoever they are and what they do, and he was talking about determinism versus free will. And it made me really think, like, especially coming from a guy like him who's just analyzing the data and looking at people from like sort of an anthropological and psychological perspective. He's like examining like what it takes to become the kind of thing that you see right in front of you, whether it's an orangutan or whatever it is. And he said that would be it's going to be one of the biggest mistakes that we've made.
Holding people accountable for their irrational behaviors.
My mom loves me.
Yes.
She's a nice lady. And my stepdad loves me. And he's a good guy. Like, I've got really lucky. It wasn't a perfect life, but it was just fucked up enough where there's enough confusion, enough weirdness that it made me hyper ambitious.
You might owe them an edible arrangement for the adversity they provided.
It was a minor amount of adversity compared to other people that I've met who have had massive adversity, like being raped, like boys that have been raped and guys that have been beat up like relentlessly and stepdads that abused them and violence at school and being arrested when they were 17 and fucking craziness. And you expect this guy that you run into at 23 years old to have his shit 100% together.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. And he's not me. When I was 23, I was way easier than that guy. But I was probably like less easier than some guy who grew up in some like really sheltered environment where, you know, you're taught chess when you're fucking 10 and like everybody's got a different thing that they went through. When you run into people, you literally have no idea what they've gone through when you're first meeting them.
That's right.
You don't know. And the real issue is, you want to talk about inequality. Like, people always like to talk about inequality of income. And that's a real thing, I guess, and that some people make more than other people. But here's a big problem. Inequality of setup. Inequality of, like, what you went through to get to where you are now. Whether you're 10 or 20 or 50. It's like, what was your ride?
Yep.
Like, did you get dropped off in the middle of the fucking desert with no water? Or did you get dropped off in Costa Rica in a rainforest eating wild mangoes, having a good time with your friends? Like, what was your ride? Were you in Tokyo? Or were you in fucking northern Michigan in a log cabin? Like, what's your ride? And to pretend that those experiences that either of those people go through, any of those people go through, are all the same.
Right.
And that at 23 you should have your shit together, or 28 or 58, whatever the fuck it is, whatever your number is. No, everyone's different. This ride's different.
Right. That's right.
That's the problem with people being upset at people for who they are and not looking at things with like legitimate empathy and compassion.
And also, honestly, it's. I know this is dorky. I have "I love you" tattooed on my forearm in white because I'm too much of a pussy.
I can't even see it.
See, you don't see it. It's like white is like.
Shit.
Yes, you do.
I don't see a goddamn thing.
Yes,
Take a picture
you
of that.
do.
Let me see it. Where's the?
See.
Putting the flashlight on.
See, I love you. It's in white, so it's more like scarification.
I don't even believe you.
What
It's
are you?
there.
How do you not see that?
Take a picture of that.
Did you get the same vaccine Chelsea hammered out? You can't see all of a
I
sudden?
see something in my phone.
Do you not see that?
It's better on my phone.
And you need to see a fucking
Barely.
deer from 2 miles away, and you can't see
I
that.
barely see
I know
this.
it's white on white, but this is a white.
I'm thinking to do my whole body like that. Like Deontay Wilder has his whole chest done in black. I'm gonna do my shit in white. Just have white
It's
everywhere.
dope though, because it's basically
Right?
scarification.
That's
so
what I'm
it's
saying.
supposedly hurts.
I'm
more.
into it.
And see, I have another white one right here. Do you not see that? That's
What
an
happens
anchor.
if you get a sunburn?
What happens if you do your whole body in black? Are you doing blackface? Like, what if you... Right? There's a guy who did that.
On his face?
Yeah. He did everything. He did all of his... No. He did his arms, his chest, and everything. See if you can find this. He's a bodybuilder. And
Kai Green?
They always no, he's a real black guy. Some black guys, some white guys rather, they put that dye on to look dark, but they don't do their face.
Tanner. Like I watched the.
You could call it tanner. I'm gonna call it like pen ink.
It's
'cause
makeup.
That's really what it is.
Oh, it's
So there's this guy.
Oh no.
So this guy,
No.
this guy tattooed his entire body,
Shouldn't do
but
that.
not African American black. This is like gorilla black. By the way, homie's quite jacked. Do you think he went
But
to the hog?
asymmetrical. Isn't the whole thing about symmetry in
It looks great.
bodybuilding?
Look, do you think he went down to the hog? That's what I want to know. Pulled back.
What does down to the hog mean?
Right, we're
Suck
at
your
his
dick?
dick root. We're at his dick
Oh,
root.
down
right
to
there.
his
Look,
hog.
He didn't go full blackface on his left hand.
It's
Like,
you
what is-
can't tattoo a small dick black. It's
That's what I'm saying.
Not
look,
gonna go
Look
well.
how far he went down. I'm curious.
So who did this tattoo and how long did it take?
Well, look at that guy in the middle. The guy with the design. The guy with the design. No, up on top, above, right there. Yeah. That's kind of dope.
Is that
That's kind of dope.
or not? I
Shut your mouth. That
I
looks
see
dope.
why. I
Come
think
on. Look, he's
as
got a fucking pharaoh.
That's
He's
a
got
pharaoh.
Tutankhamun.
That's appropriation. So
Oh
when
no, maybe he's Egyptian. You racist, son of a bitch. Cancel
that's
her.
not racism. That's erasure. It's different.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let me tell you something.
Go back to that. What are you
When I
taking that down
see
for? How
that
dare you?
much, I just go, "This guy's unemployed and he can't provide for my."
And it makes you wet.
And it.
That's what starts the
Why?
party.
If I'm on birth control, but not if I'm not. This is hot. I like the
right.
butt tattoos. I don't know
Wow,
why.
Congratulations.
I think those are the ones that they do with like a needle. Angelina Jolie did one where it's like with just a needle. I'm looking to get like a wild tattoo.
Well, you can get a pharaoh on your stomach. That's pretty wild.
I'm good.
The thing about a guy like that is, go back to that. Now, just as an aesthetic person, a person looking at images, that takes away from your six pack. I'm sorry, but it does.
Let me see.
The guy's jacked. Like, for sure, that guy has a crazy
But
body.
you can't really tell.
But you can't really tell. Like, that guy has a fucking perfect body. He's like a superhero. Look at him. He looks like Captain America. Mm-hmm. Right? He's perfect. But meanwhile, where's his cock? His cock is probably like a sphinx head.
But it also looks like a bathing suit. Oh, okay. I see what's happening.
Oh,
here.
that's the same dude?
Oh, same tattoos. I don't imagine there's two guys with the
Oh,
same.
my God.
I see is the lack of a 401k.
He might be. This guy might be a copy.
All I see is that
All you see is credit card debt.
That's all I see. All I see is a bad credit score.
Good point. Well, that guy might be a copycat. Imagine if a guy got all the same tattoos as you, the way Steve-O did with Angelina Jolie.
Oh, did he get all the same tattoos? as
He
her?
has
That's so
all-
funny. That's so
He
funny.
has all Angelina Jolie's tattoos.
That's like her child's birthday.
Everything.
That's so
Every time she gets a tattoo,
fucking
he gets
funny.
he gets the same tattoo. He's got a Billy Bob tattoo.
That's hilarious. Tattoos as a joke is so fucking funny to me. I love that guy. He's such a fucking nice dude. He's such a
He's
nice
a sweetheart of a
dude.
guy. He's always been a sweetheart of a guy. I always try to tell him to stop. Because he's always like, I'm gonna let Chuck Liddell kick me in the head. Like, hey man, don't do that.
This motherfucker will, when he had his, because he's like touring and trying to do like he does like a stand-up show, had a stand-up special.
Yeah.
He duct taped himself to the side of a billboard.
Fuck SeaWorld.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On Sunset Boulevard, like the motherfucker is the most brave bitch on the planet. His girlfriend, or now wife, I think, Lux, I love her.
She's great.
They're
They're great together.
Dude,
they fit like a glove.
They did it 100%. They
Yeah.
did this bit where they went around like Runyon Canyon in LA or something. And she had a used tampon. She was asking people, it was a prank, asking people to take photos of her. Like, can you take a photo? And then she had a bloody tampon fall out of her pussy while she was posing. And like people would be like, and a lot of people just pretended they didn't see it. Like they're such a
Whoops.
fucking fun. You just have to find someone who laughs at the same sick shit as you.
Yeah, well, you can't be with someone who wants to be an accountant like you. Like, imagine if some dude was an accountant. It's like, Whitney, I just think you should really calm down your act and maybe perhaps stop with the letting other men grab your breasts on stage. I mean, it's just like, it's not asking a lot.
That is old. That was an old man who had never touched.
I saw a young guy grabbing your tits.
That was.
That's a
You're
different.
correct.
Yeah, there's
That-
more than one guy grab your tits.
That is my brand, and how dare you? You have fanny packs and kettlebells.
My brand. My fanny pack is secondhand. I told you, it's third hand. It comes from Roots, which is introduced to me by Dice. It's not mine.
I like to bring people on. I love to. I think to me, I don't do crowd work. I feel like it's cheating most of the time.
Right.
But I think that after not being around human beings for so long and being so grateful that people were fucking showing up and, buying tickets and tipping fucking waitresses. And I just had so much gratitude, and I just want to talk to fans. And I was like, come on stage. And then it quickly denigrated to,
the tits out.
Yeah. I cheat on stage. Come see me cheat on my boyfriend on stage.
With ladies too, sometimes old ones.
Yeah, no, I made out with a bunch of lesbians in Spokane, and it's just, to me, it's like
saying lesbians in Spokane is like, I get it. You said Spokane.
It was right. It was redundant. I stayed in a place called Coeur d'Alene. Have you been there?
I've heard it's amazing.
In Idaho, it's fucking gorgeous.
How far away is that from Spokane?
About an
drive.
hour. I would say
Oh.
like 40 minutes.
Schaub did it. He did gigs out there. He did the same thing. He got a B&B.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you know that it has the highest Bigfoot sightings, I think, is Spokane.
Also meth.
Yeah, that's
And white supremacists.
And 100% of the people that do meth saw Bigfoot.
And there's like Ku Klux Klan up there, right? And they're like white separatists up there. Sorry if you are.
Yeah,
I don't want to offend
Spokane
you.
is
If you're one of the white separatists, like, you're misrepresenting our Klan.
Oh, right. But
Ooh.
yeah, Spokane is. But I
No,
love,
not Spokane.
I love
but
Coeur d'Alene outside.
But also that area too. Like Washington State has a lot of like little loony separatists.
Oh yeah.
Those separatist guys, we need to hunt them down and give them ecstasy and hug them all.
I mean, look, did you ever see that? There was a movie that came out and they pulled it because it was too incendiary or divisive or something. It starred Betty Gilpin.
Was it really? What was it about?
That hurts. How hard is it to? Okay, I want to ask you two questions because you're
Okay.
Joe Rogan. How hard can you really kill someone by pushing their nose into their brain?
No. 100%
You
bullshit.
fucked up my whole plan.
Yeah, I know. There was always a thing, right?
This movie was good, by the way.
So this got pulled. It was about liberals hunting conservatives or conservatives hunting liberals, and they had to pull it, right?
It came out though.
But
Who
like
pulled
initially,
six
it?
yeah,
months
yeah.
later.
Who made this?
That's Betty Gilpin. She's a beast. Was it Blumhouse? The Hunt, it was called.
Yeah.
And it was like trophy hunting, but conservatives would hunt liberals?
And liberals are out. Well, listen, the reason why a movie like that would work is because it's possible.
And
There's so many
cathartic.
people that are so angry.
I think Sturgill Simpson's in it also, by the way.
Interesting.
Of course he is. He definitely told me he was doing a movie. He was learning how to shoot guns. I introduced him to Thomas McNamara. Remember?
Yeah, there he is. He plays a rapper.
Yeah.
I remember seeing him. I was like, what the fuck is that Sturgill Simpson?
Oh,
Yeah.
like what a wild. And did you see Jamie Kennedy just did some movie about abortion or something? Like I think Ben Shapiro's like funding movies.
Wait.
A minute.
Because Jamie Kennedy was the one that I was telling you yesterday that released a video on his Instagram about people getting microchipped.
Oops.
With the vaccine. They were putting magnets on the site where they got vaccinated. And they were saying, look, it's a magnet.
Uh-oh.
There's a
Hey,
microchip.
Jamie, stop following Tim Dillon.
Dylan punked you. What is this? Yeah, this is the video. So it says, you tell me RIP to my comment section. By the way, Jamie Kennedy, I know him. He's a nice guy. He's probably fucking around.
What's
I
his
put in this,
picture? What is that him? What's his
don't know what that
profile
is.
picture?
It's Mickey Rourke and the Wrestler.
That's a
It's like, we already talked about this. But this lady, look at this lady's putting this magnet on her shoulder. And when she does, it sticks there. But then she puts it on the other side. And she says that's where she got...
Are you sure that's not a nicotine
no,
patch?
go with the volume so you can hear it because she gets crazy. She's like, that's it. We're chipped. We're fucked.
Well, she's wearing a mask inside, so I already think she's an
You
idiot.
go figure it out. We're chipped. We're all fucked.
Wait, I don't understand.
She
her
put
point.
the magnet over the spot where she got vaccinated. And she thinks there's a microchip in there. So the magnet is sticking on her arm.
I think it got stuck in the cellulite.
I think this is Russian propaganda. They're trying to make us go crazy.
Dude, I'm obsessed with Russian propaganda. I'm obsessed with Russia. So I have these Russian movers that move all my shit, right? Which, by the way, fucking when Tim Dillon moved to Agora Hills and then I had to hire them like 15 times to get Tim's furniture in and out.
What is Tim, your child? Is he your
Tim
son?
Dillon? Tim Dillon is. We're like a fucked up married couple. I don't know what to tell you. It's very sadistic. It's very Bonnie and Clyde. But we had these Russian movers. I'm obsessed with So most Russian people, if you talk to them, they say that they believe, it's very common knowledge over there, that Vladimir Putin has a double that got plastic surgery to look exactly like him for public appearances. They said that about Melania too, but I believe it for Vladimir Putin. Putin?
whatever you want to call him.
Remember that movie Dave, where with Kevin Kline, where the president got sick and they had to find his twin?
Oh yeah. Well, remember when they thought Melania had a double?
Yes.
Because the double.
I
was
auditioned
like,
for that part.
Cheers. The double was making out with Donald, and everybody's like, Melania hates him. But this double, she's got a fake nose, and she's wearing weird sunglasses, and she'd be like really affectionate with Donald.
Will you look up someone, Jamie, called April Tillman? Have you done your 23andMe ancestry stuff?
Yes.
And?
I got a whole bit on it. So tonight.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
You were doing shit at the Comedy Store before the pandemic that was fucking cracking so hard. So this is not me.
What about her, April Tillman? People think it's you.
That's not me.
But look, it's pull out because that's Whitney right there.
That's me.
Right.
But not on the far. That's not me.
Oh.
She looks exactly like me. She
doesn't look like you.
She can't. You don't think?
No. If like she showed up at my house, hi, I'm Whitney. I'd be like, bitch, who the fuck are you? I know what you look
but
like.
You know
I've
me
seen
well.
you a million times.
You've seen me in bad lighting. You've seen me in the Comedy Store.
That lady's not you.
Well,
I'd be like, that's not her.
If they tried to make them look like each other, I bet they'd look exactly alike.
Dude, if I just do a couple things, I feel like we can both do dates the same night.
No,
if I can
look
teach
right
her to
in
do
eyes.
stand-up.
That bitch isn't funny. She's not. I'm like, not buying it. I don't know. I'm kidding, lady. You might be funny. What's her name?
April Tillman.
I'm sorry,
She's a
April. I didn't mean that.
Pilates instructor in Portland.
Oh, Jesus Christ. You're blowing up April Tillman? I thought she was an actress.
But they say that we have about 6 people.
Oh, my God. You guys do look the same.
We have the same gums.
No, that's crazy. I'm sorry, April.
The same wrinkles in our
Look at you guys
face.
together. That's crazy.
It's
you
weird.
100% could be her sister.
It's fucking our teeth, our gums, our crow's feet.
And you look exactly the same age, too. That's crazy.
It's a little fucking weird, dude. Oh, well, because my last special, I had the robot maid.
Dude, that's so crazy.
And I wanted to have her do all my press for me, like Jimmy Kimmel or whatever the fuck talk show.
Imagine if you did that.
I had her come out for me in Spokane. I flew her up to Coeur d'Alene and put her on stage. And I trained her. I'm working on the video for Instagram right now where she was like impersonating me, but she was too sweet and no one bought that it was me. Because she was like, hey, everybody. Whereas I'm like, what's up, bitches? But I set her on stage and people thought it was me for like a good minute and a half.
When I did Chicago theater, like, oh God, I don't even know what it was, like maybe 2012 or some shit like that. I had Callen go on stage as me.
Oh, shit.
So they introduced Joe Rogan, and Brian Callen walks on stage, and like people were clapping and cheering. He's like, hey, what's up? How's everybody doing? It was like, but there was a like weird moment where everybody's like, what the fuck is happening?
But there's an interesting confirmation bias when people just want to look for evidence that which is always such an interesting thought experiment, because I do think that's what people do now. They have decided something, and whether it's right or not, and then they just look for evidence to prove themselves right for their ego.
That's definitely true.
And they'll discard any new information. Whereas comedians, say what the fuck you want about us, but we're the people who are like, oh, I didn't know that. I'm going to change my mind now.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of people are just looking for things to prove the dumb shit they already believe.
There's definitely a lot of that. Yeah. It's hard for people to accept. I talked about this yesterday with this guy, Andy Norman, who wrote this book, Mental Immunity.
Oh, cool.
He's a professor, and he was talking about the whole book is about ideas.
What does he say?
That are
Stop
like
drinking
mind
whiskey
parasites.
during the day?
No, he said, go ahead, do that.
Mind
You can handle it.
parasites.
Yeah, but that's like a lot of bad ideas, or like mind parasites.
Mm-hmm. Well, also, I think that humans, and I was thinking about this earlier when you brought up like stand-up and the fear of heights and the fears that we inherit, like the fear of being embarrassed.
Oh, yeah, it's bad for people.
Is so deep, and I don't think we talk about it enough, because a lot of people, I can't remember who, I'm plagiarizing, but it was probably Chris Rock or Louis C.K. is like, stand-up is how we control how we're embarrassed. I'm going to embarrass myself I'm going to make fun of myself before you can fucking do it.
Yeah, that's for sure, right?
Embarrassment means death, not getting a mate, not procreating. Shame and embarrassment is such a motherfucker.
Right, because it's a rejection of your position in the social circle.
That's right. You're low on the totem pole, and
Yeah.
you're the first to die.
Yeah. Or you're not, depending on how you handle it.
Remember Lord of the Flies? Was that what it's called?
Yeah.
That movie is savage as shit.
That's real. That's how people are. Like, remember what happened when the George Floyd protests went down and people just started, like, roaming through the streets, smashing people's windows and doing crazy shit? It was so interesting and so telling, because there was a moment where there was the perfect convergence of all these different things that were happening that were bad. There was a perfect merging of chaos and anger
And nothing to lose.
Yeah, watching the George Floyd death. But the fact that George Floyd death was multiple months into this pandemic that was scary. So everybody's like, fears were heightened. And then all of a sudden, everybody got into extreme poverty because the money wasn't rolling in. And the stimulus checks they kept promising us, they weren't happening. And we were seeing like evidence of like government hypocrisy and the fact they didn't really care.
And we
People
were on
started
our
getting
phones
freaked
all
out.
day. So we watched the
Yes!
whole video, 9 fucking minutes.
And you're scared of each other because literally running into someone could give you a disease that could kill you. The first time in our lives where you could run into someone if they don't have a mask on, they could spit in your mouth and
That's
you
right.
could be dead.
That's right.
That's
The
we
only
never
way I
had
can
that
come.
before. Oh,
To have COVID spit in my mouth.
she's got T
This
cells.
has been a great year for me.
Let's give her some D cells.
And it was wild. Like, I think about that. And who was it that was talking? It might have even been on your podcast that when we are in fear, our IQ goes down because
Yeah.
our frontal lobe shuts off and our amygdala is running the show. We get dumber when we're scared.
Well, 100%. That's what happens to fighters. When fighters panic,
Wow.
they start fighting shitty. They don't use good technique and they can't like see the whole picture. They get almost like they get blinders on, and they start looking at things really narrowly. They just start doing like one technique over and over again, hoping to end the anxiety of this particularly scary moment.
Interesting.
Instead of being able to see it. When a fighter's loose and relaxed, they develop like there's a cool thing to watch because they see things. Like if a relaxed fighter is fighting a fighter who's terrified, it's really interesting because the relaxed fighter, he sees all these openings, but the tense fighter is like so fucking
Interesting.
worried about his own existence and just and he just
Fight or flight.
yeah, and he's overwhelmed by it. It's almost like being drunk. Like a little bit of alcohol is like, I love you. I love you, yeah.
Right.
But a lot of alcohol is you're throwing up on the curb, you're falling apart, you don't know what to do. A little bit of anxiety is what I like. I like a little. Like every time I go on stage, I get a little nervous. I like that.
I get in trouble for this all the time. I talk about it on my podcast all the time because there's this new trend where people are like, I have an anxiety disorder. I know there's real ones. I have a family member who couldn't get out of bed every day, had agoraphobia. Like, I get what that, real debilitating mental obstacle is. But when people are like, I just have anxiety or like I have social anxiety, that's probably your body trying to tell you something or
Yeah.
it's fuel to do something interesting. So for me, I spent all this time in my 20s being like, I have social anxiety. I go to parties and I feel anxious. No, these people just suck. This is my body telling me to get out of
Yes.
this party. And then I go to the comedy store and I'm around comics that are, most people would say this is toxic. I feel safe there. That's where I have an absence of anxiety. I feel understood, whatever. Maybe your anxiety is just trying to tell you to get out of this situation and
even
it's helpful information.
100%. I think you're dead right. I think when you're around people that care about you, you feel good. When you're around people that like they're looking out for you.
They
There's a
vibrate
thing-
on the same frequency.
Yeah. The thing about the store that's always been interesting is like there's a lot of camaraderie there. There's a lot of love and family there. And there's a lot of people that didn't experience that, so they get angry. I didn't get the love. Fuck that place. But it's not that you couldn't have.
You get
It
out
just
what
did-
you put in.
But you do get out what you put in, but also maybe it just didn't, you didn't have the right conversations. You didn't see the right people. Like if I knew somebody that was like, the comedy store, they're not fucking, they don't care about me. They're fucking shitty. It's just a boys club and stuff. I'd be like, please come with me.
Right.
Please.
Right.
We're all okay. Like if I could take you to that back bar and we could all hang out and joke around, you would realize like, oh my God, these people are so nice. Everyone's so nice.
The nicest, but if you feel, I always said this because I started getting all these calls about, let's talk about how toxic the comedy store. I was like, bitch, I'm not the person to fucking call about this because that is a warm hug to me. And if you come in with judgments about these people, you're gonna find what you're looking for.
But here's what part of it is. It's a walled garden. There's this thing that's
Interesting.
happening in this place where you can't get in. There's this weird club, and inside that club is Anthony Jeselnik and you
Best.
and Annie Letterman
Best.
and Diaz and these savages, and they're erupting these rooms. And Rick Ingram and Theo Vaughn, and it's chaos. Boom, 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 and you can't get a spot. So you think somehow or another you're not being respected.
So to me, when people are always like, I'm not getting spots at the comedy store, I'm like, try to follow Joey Diaz.
It's
in
impossible.
In the OR, I've done it. Every time I've had to follow Joey Diaz, I'm literally stretching in the hallway. And I know that for the first 3 minutes of my set, I just have to acknowledge Joey Diaz. I have to do
Yes.
callbacks to Joey Diaz
Yes.
because I know they just miss him for the first 3 minutes. I just have to ease them into.
You know, that's why I started bringing him on the road with me.
To follow him.
Yes.
Genius.
Listen, I work out. Okay, I'm here to work out.
That's right.
Like, I'm not here to spar with white belts. I want to spar with like good brown belts. I want to get in a dangerous place. Joey's a fucking master. He's a red belt. He's a grand master.
When Joey's done, people like get up and go to the back. Like the show's over.
They go outside and do coke. They can't even handle it anymore. Like, what are we doing?
And they're all like texting their friends. I just saw Joey Diaz, and you're just up there eating shit.
Listen, I always tell everybody that Joey Diaz is the funniest person on earth. There's other people that are funny and they're brilliant, and it's like my funny or my brilliant is different than yours. Just like my music. Like, I remember I got into my car once and I had a Sheryl Crow CD playing, and my friend Eddie's girlfriend was like, whose fucking CD is this? I go, mine. And she's like, there's no way you like Sheryl Crow. I go, stop.
She's a gangster.
I fucking love Sheryl Crow.
You're my favorite mistake.
You're my favorite mistake. That's the song. That's the one.
That's my shit.
Dude, that's one of the best songs of all time. It's a great song. When it comes to like a fucked up chaos, remorse, relationship song.
And by the way, taking fucking responsibility.
Oh, yes.
So many women I know are like, that person fucked me over and I just loved him too much. I'm like, that was a fucking mistake and you're into him. And if he came back right now, you'd fuck him and ruin your entire marriage for him, and just know that. You know what I mean?
My favorite
mistake. With that fucking raspy voice, that mole.
Yeah. She's brilliant.
I do love to play this song, and I was just playing with this guy that's on the road with me in Texas, Fahim.
Anwar?
And, by the way, no.
You got other Fahim?
I'm so racist.
You cheating on a different Fahim?
No, it's Zahid.
Fahim
and I
we're
called
working
him
with tonight,
Fahim because I was
way.
thinking of Fahim, and Zahid comes on the road with me
We're going to tell him
Thursday.
tonight because he's on the show tonight.
The best.
So's Ian.
I can't wait. I tried to, by the way, I tried to take Ian Edwards to the pig farm with me in Bastrop, and he was like, no.
Bonnie McFarlane's on Thursday, too.
No fucking way. I leave for Dallas Thursday. That sucks. Bonnie McFarlane's documentary.
Well, you're going to have to move here.
Can I tell you something?
We have things happening.
I've been trying to move here with Joe Rogan.
What do you need to do? Get that Sandy lady to let you live in her house.
Here's the thing. You know I have...
Be my neighbor.
I have a fucking Achilles... what do you call it? My Achilles heel is West Virginia.
It's talking out of your neck. Push that fucking microphone forward.
Hello.
Dude, this would be a good... I see Jamie panicking over there. He's ready to jump up and grab that thing and put it in front of your face.
Well, I used to, when I first did your show, I get really like kind of nervous, and I would be too far away from it because I was afraid of being shrill to men because my voice is so fucking unfuckable.
Why would you be worried about being shrill to men?
I think that like think about it. Women in comedy. I don't feel like I'm a victim. I don't feel like my life is hard.
Right.
I never play the like I'm a woman in comedy. It's so hard shit. Everyone that like hazed me, I'm great. I should send Ari Shaffir a thank you note every month for the fucking pranks he pulled on me when I started doing stand up because it made me so much fucking stronger. And
he made me a birthday cake and said happy birthday, faggot. It's 100% true.
Ari, one time.
It's 100% true because he calls me that all the time. We call each other that.
Was it a giant like donut hole
beautiful.
so you could fuck it?
It's perfect.
God damn it, Ari. When was that?
I think it was my 40th. This was like 13 years ago.
I don't even think you know the story. So, and I was thinking about this when you brought up Bernie Madoff, and I was trying to make the argument that like, if you're doing something so immoral, but you succeed at it, are you a genius? Because I remember when I first started getting original room spots, I started getting like the 9 o'clock spot where you're opening, and Mitzi's may or may not be. It's a big deal. You're performing for like 2 Germans, and before the real comics kind of got there, you had to break the crowd. And I had just gotten my wallet stolen. My credit card, my wallet was stolen, and my credit card had been copied. And they were taking $300 a day out of my ATM thing. And it was like the kind of thing that's like, if you can create a fake credit card that works in an ATM machine with that magnetic strip, you're a genius. Just go get a real job. Just do something cool like Frank Abagnale does now. You know, he was Catch Me If You Can, and now he advises like the CIA. Like, you obviously have brilliant intelligence, just directed into a positive direction or whatever.
Right.
I get on stage, I come off. This is the week that like $1,000 have been taken out of my bank account. I don't think I probably had $1,001. And Ari had stolen my backpack everyone used to make fun of me because I would carry a little fucking JanSport backpack. Because I was like, I can't wear a purse to the Comedy Store. Like I had to really neuter myself and try to make, desexualize myself at all costs. Because for me, fucking a comedian or dating a comedian was just like pissing in the water you drink. Like I never wanted to toxify.
Don't shit in the punch bowl.
I never wanted to fuck up that dynamic in the hallway.
Of course, yeah.
I never wanted.
The hallway dynamic is everything, right?
Everything to me.
Everything.
That was the only place I ever fucking felt comfortable. And I was like, I don't want to fuck this up by
what
blowing
Mitzi
Santino.
always.
You know that I tried to blow Bobby Lee once?
No.
As a joke.
It was impossible.
And we were laughing so hard.
Your head was too big.
I used his dick to floss my teeth, though. That was helpful.
Oh.
I love Mommy so much.
You went too far.
He was one of the first people that brought me on the road with him. Him and Steve
Really?
Byrne brought me on the road to open for him, and that's where you fucking get good.
I didn't run into you until you already had a television show, and then I was coming out to the store. Like, I'd been gone for 7 years.
Crazy.
So in that time that I was gone, you had like emerged, and you had your show with Chris, and then you were at the store, and then I ran into you at the Laugh Factor before I ever did the store again.
Interesting.
I ran into you. I think we met in the 2013 or something like that.
It is wild because meeting you, like I had heard there was this lore about you because you had left the Comedy Store. I mean, the Showtime documentary kind of documented that, I think, pretty well. But I heard so much about you, and the aftermath of that thing with Mencia was such a huge part of the DNA of that place. And, there was so much, because I would go up late, like right before Don Barris. I mean, I would go to bed at 1 a.m. and then at 10 p.m. and set my alarm for 1 a.m. to walk down to the Comedy Store. I rented a place on Miller Drive right behind the Comedy Store because I just wanted spots at the Comedy Store.
Right.
My whole life was, even before I was a comic, I made it integral to just doing fucking 15 minutes there. I would go Mondays and Sundays and Mondays at 5 p.m. to sign up for the open mic, and then wait for 3 hours to see if you were going to get on. And then you get 3 minutes. And, so I was a part of that whole open mic crowd. And you were talked about so much that by the time I actually met you, it was just like, I feel like I know you.
What year was this?
God, I started doing, I guess, 2005.
When did you go to the store? When you started going to the store?
I started going to the store. I had already done, like, VH1 was doing all those shows with comedians. Like, that was how I was kind of paying my, like, week to week, like, best week ever, where comics would just make fun of celebrities. And and I was already, like, had some TV credits, which at that time people would, like, hate, that you're coming in. But Doc was running the list, and I would come in, you would sign up with a bunch of literally homeless people.
Yeah.
Like Tony Hinchcliffe, I think, was maybe working the door by
he had
then.
a tent.
Maybe.
He wasn't homeless, but he had his own tent.
He did have his own tent.
Robert William Aprovia.
He was, and then who the fuck? Boom Shakalaka would be running around.
Remember Robert William Aprovia? He was the guy who would go on really late at night and talk about marijuana. He used to be a lawyer, but he had a mental issue. Him and I were always like really friends.
Oh, interesting.
He wouldn't touch you. He'd never touch you. And like he had to realize that I didn't have to touch him. Like wouldn't shake hands or bump fists or anything.
Oh, interesting.
He wore like
ahead of he was
the
ahead
same
of
blue suit, and he stuffed his. There's Robert.
You know who would go
and he
on?
He stuffed his jacket with plastic bags when it would rain out, and he would walk all the way from downtown.
That's fucking fascinating.
And he would do open mic nights Mondays and Tuesday night, or Sunday and Monday night, and he was actually pretty funny.
Well, I mean, there was a guy that, Dov Davidoff gave me shit for this once because I would like become friends with everyone. I mean, going to the Comedy Store and sitting on that patio with a bunch of fucking mentally ill, schizophrenic people was the first time I ever felt comfortable in life. All the broken toys getting together. And, and I would talk to everyone. And Dov used to be like, Dov Davidoff was like, why do you connect with these crazy people? Why are you talking to these people? They're open micers. Like, what are you doing? And in my brain, I'm like, I found a family. This is the first time I've had a family. And then I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And a guy with his act was he would wear an actual dollhouse on his head. and this is the kind of haven the Comedy Store is.
Yeah.
A plastic dollhouse, and his eyes would show through the windows, and he'd do his act as a dollhouse. And he came up to me and was like, hey, Whitney, I was like, hey, buddy. Like, it didn't occur to me that it was weird to talk to a guy with a dollhouse on his head. That was my, comfort zone.
There's a certain beauty in accepting someone who's like so far off the regular chart.
That's right.
He's so crazy that you're like, you're all right, man. You're not hurting me.
Dude,
We're all
you're the
friends.
person I want to talk to. I walk into a
Yes.
bar. I want to talk to the guy with the dollhouse on his head. So
The Jesus guy.
God, the Jesus guy. He
The
would
guy, when he died, we were all like legitimately sad.
devastated.
Did he
'cause
die? When did he die? How long
He
ago?
died, what was that, 5 years ago?
A few years ago.
He would dress as Jesus, walk
Yeah.
around Los Angeles, committed to it so hard. Because I do think comedians, we bow down to anyone that's braver than us, right?
I think he might have been mentally ill. I don't know if it's bravery.
100%.
He might have really thought it was Jesus.
But then I'm like, I want that kind of,
There he
oh
is.
no, buddy.
Yeah.
That
He was a
is-
nice guy. I always enjoyed talking to him.
That
He was
is a-
really friendly.
I don't think I've ever spent time on how thick his beard was.
Oh, it's manly.
Good for you, buddy.
strong.
Doing
Very
that
strong.
krill oil.
He was always hanging around the store, and like we kind of accepted that he was a positive part of the thing, because like he always dressed like Jesus,
Yes.
but he was consistent and he was always nice. He was never a problem. It's not like he was dressing like Jesus and stealing your keys,
Well, Jesus would not steal.
right? But he was really nice. So like what's
Well, he was
what's
playing
up with
Jesus.
that guy?
I mean, he was in
dressed
character.
up like Jesus.
The
Well,
fact
he's
that
always
he didn't
nice.
walk around with prostitutes was the
Look,
only.
he's a Jared Leto.
The only thing out of character is he didn't hang out with prostitutes, which would have
He
really
might have. You
sold
don't know.
it.
You don't know shit.
But
Where
if-
did he live? Where did he sleep?
I'm sure. Did you ever see that documentary about the people that dress up as superheroes on Hollywood Boulevard?
You mean my parents?
Will you please cut me out of this? Will you please not involve me in
No,
this?
the fucking zoo needs to be saved. We need to get those Asiatic bears out of that zoo.
No,
We
look,
need to
I have
keep
a
you on
couple
this show.
giraffes to save down the street. I do, dude, and they're fucking. Don't even get me started on
Really?
this. There's also lions. I will show
Really,
you.
giraffes?
I go in.
Oh
Well, the
my
giraffe is
God.
what I was trying to save at Malibu Safari in Malibu because it's a fucking
Can I
illegal
just
giraffe.
can I just explain?
You know, this is how I'm going to get your attention for it. There are Native American cave paintings up there, and he will
yeah.
not allow it to be preserved by like some conservation society.
Oh, that's a problem.
And-
There's private land you can buy right now that in all over the country
You
that
see
has
this-
hieroglyphs or
Li-
petroglyphs. Excuse me.
Lions at the capital of Texas Zoo, fuck you guys, where they had a baby and it's not even allowed to be with the parents, and they sold off the males to a zoo in Florida. This is not legal, not okay. You know what I'm saying? So for me,
Right.
I'm not taking
Pause,
a moral
please.
stance. It's just illegal. I'm just trying to enforce the law.
Let's go. Let's bring it all back.
Uh-oh.
Why don't chicken farms freak you out more?
Because
But here's the thing: like you're like
chickens
really
aren't as
obsessed.
intelligent. I know. They're not
Right,
as
right.
intelligent. They have very tiny brains.
They're more ruthless predators than tigers. How about that?
After you cut their heads off, they
No,
still
no,
live.
no, no,
That's
no, no.
spooky. They're
Have
witches.
you ever given a chicken a mouse? I have.
Have you ever given a chicken a mouse?
Yeah, if you give a chicken a mouse, you throw a mouse in a chicken coop, you have never seen such savagery.
Okay, hold on. Have I ever thrown a mouse?
Whitney, this thing
Sir.
in your neck. What is
Why
what are
do
you
you keep
doing?
trying to make me do this?
Why are you
I'm
doing
not
this?
Judy Tenuta. I'm not a prop comic. I'm not going to do this bit. I feel this is going to
You
turn
keep
into a
doing it,
meme
though.
on the internet.
She's doing it, right? Isn't she doing it?
What is this? You know what this is?
You've
This
committed
is.
to talking to me like this.
Who's the woman that deep throat that had the G spot in her throat? I feel like
I don't
all.
think that's real.
I feel like
I
all
think that
guys
lady's
have that
really
fantasy.
needy.
I'm like, I'm having an orgasm. Guys have decided there's a G spot in your throat.
I don't think that's real.
No, it's
I
definitely.
think that's like Ninja Turtles.
Definitely.
It's
Do you
just
know-
fiction.
Do you know? Dude, turtles do live in sewers.
Yeah, for sure, but not ninjas.
I'm sure.
Look,
they-
watch this chicken.
No,
chickens-
I can't watch this.
You
can't.
feed a bunch of mice. Look, they steal chickens.
Okay.
They steal mice.
I don't
these,
fuck
these
with
chickens.
chickens.
Look already well fed. Otherwise, they would be
Chickens-
fucking up these mice.
Chickens, I'm not going to dedicate my life to rescuing because
Okay.
you can't reason with a chicken.
That's what I'm saying. Put up
There's no emotional.
chicken, mouse, cat.
Vultures, however,
that,
I'm
because
obsessed with. It's
there's
just
a
this here
cat-
Pornhub algorithm.
Yeah.
So vultures, you know I love. I fucking will move roadkill for vultures so they're out of the street. I sent you that video yesterday.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Whitney Cummings is out here in Texas for 4 days. She's already fighting with people about bears and moving carcasses to the side of the road.
Squirrel
Watch
carcasses.
This. So watch this. I need you to watch this.
I
Here's a
can't-
mouse.
Oh,
Now watch.
no.
There's a little cat.
No.
The cat comes around. You would think a cat would
Does it
be
have
way
toxoplasmosis
more
or not? I
vicious.
have to know.
Just watch.
Uh-oh.
See the cat? The cat's just sort of
Shit.
swatting around this mouse.
Shit.
It's definitely going to kill this mouse eventually. But watch. The chicken finds out.
Uh-oh.
See that chicken? It's like, bitch, you don't know what the
No!
fuck you're doing. Watch.
No!
Watch. Keep watching. Don't look away. Look. Chicken fucks up that mouse. Chickens are way more vicious because chickens are there to eat. You know why? They don't play games.
I didn't
They
know
don't have
chickens
the
were
game-
carnivores.
Way carnivores.
The
Yeah.
irony of calling someone who's not brave a chicken.
Well, they're kind of chicken. They're scared of things.
Pick
They're
a
scared of
lane.
me, and I fed them every day.
Because chickens, I don't think have enough memory
Oh.
to remember that you're who fed them.
They know mice is delicious.
Right.
Mice is
That's
to
probably
pieces.
smell. If you smelled like a chicken, they probably hang out with you. If you doused yourself in, you know what I mean?
Well, they do
mouse
attack
dung.
each other. That was a real issue. They
you get
peck
'em-
at each other. That's why it's called a pecking order. Like one
Interesting.
chicken is a kind of a bitch, and like the weak chickens,
Mm-hmm.
the other mean chickens find out that one chicken is weak and tolerate,
Sure.
and they go after them, and they try to figure out the pecking order.
Sure. Which is, I mean, pigs do it too. I think all animals have to kind
Yeah,
of test each
all
other.
animals do
I
it.
mean, even us, when we walk in, like, I think to me, part of the reason I love fucking comedy so much is people come in and they go, "What's up, motherfucker?" And you test each other and you go,
Yeah.
"Okay."
That's what's happening on Twitter.
We're both
It's a pecking
strong.
order. It's
Yeah.
just a meanness pecking order amongst shut-ins that are mostly mentally ill.
Yeah, and then I guess the proof of alpha is in form of some likes from a bunch of people, but I like comedians because we go, we're both in the same weight class, we can fuck with each other, and no one's gonna get hurt,
Exactly. And we don't want each other to get hurt.
And to me, people are like, "Isn't the comedy store sexist?" I'm like, I walk in there and they insult me equally with the other men.
But it's, Ali Wong and I had a conversation about whether or not the comedy itself was a meritocracy. And she thought it was. And I think so too. I think it's like,
That's fair.
if someone's really funny, like
That's
when
right.
she was pregnant, she was murdering.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no more meritocracy than a tiny
Yep.
female who's pregnant,
Right.
who's also
Killing.
an Asian, who's also murdering on stage with a baby in her stomach,
Right.
and also doing it for Netflix.
G-
Right? It's a meritocracy.
I was talking about this with Tim last night. Dylan, don't unfollow him. He doesn't need more fame. He's going to self-destruct. But the comedy is ultimately about surprise, right? It's not about hurting people's feelings. It's not about saying the grossest thing or the most offensive thing. It's
Right.
about surprising people. So to me, it's like going on stage pregnant as a woman. Like, that's fucking surprising.
Yeah.
There's this woman, Catherine Ryan in England, and she comes out with these little like 50s housewife dresses and glittery, sparkly things. and
Talks
she's
about cock.
super feminine. It's fucking
Does she?
surprising. Sometimes. But she admits, she talks about having plastic surgery. That's fucking surprising because most people fucking lie about it.
Right.
And I think comics are, the more things people make off limits and taboo, the stronger you make us because it's more surprising when we fucking say it. Cancel culture people don't understand. They're just making us stronger.
Well, it's all based on fear of shame, right? So it's like it's based on this premise that nobody ever makes mistakes, and that's a preposterous premise. So like if someone says to me like, "Hey, you probably shouldn't have said that," I'll be like, "Yeah, probably. Yeah, you're right." I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying while I'm saying it.
But do you I sent, Annie and I and you are, on a chain, and every now and then I'm just like, "Joe, love you." Like, you've gotten so into the zeitgeist and you've become clickbait. I mean, news sites that are going out of business use your name to
Me and
get
Harry,
clicks.
Look at what Tim Dillon wrote. Harry was saying, Harry slams Joe Rogan for spreading vaccine misinformation about COVID-19. And Tim Dillon says, "Why don't you focus more on your family who killed your mother?"
By the way, I love that you're at the Ice House. You're definitely the Ice House
Yeah.
in that photo.
100%. Yeah.
So that Tim Dillon, what he's doing right now is our job is to be brave and surprising. It's not to be in line with everyone else. It's not. We're the clowns. We're the jokers.
100%.
And so,
Harry would be fine if I met him. Harry's just talking from afar. Like, he doesn't know me, and he's lived
No.
as a royal.
No.
Like, if Harry and I hung out together, I could get him to relax.
That's correct.
Just relax.
That's correct.
It might take a while. Might take a little time, but he's not a bad guy. He's just a guy.
But isn't it all of our instincts from a biological basis to to come off moral and to virtue
Yeah.
signal we're good.
Well, you know why? It's because we're in the process of improvement, right? And we want to pretend that we're at level 10 when we're really at level 7, right? Everybody wants to exaggerate about their own ability to navigate this weird life that we live in. So you want to pretend that you get it more. Oh, you're spreading vaccine misinformation. Ho, ho.
But so is the news. So to me,
Yeah.
when all that shit happened with you, I was like, it was killing me because I was like, why don't you guys focus not on the whatever Joe said, forget what Joe said, focus on the fact that people don't trust news organizations to the point to where they are going to Joe, because who's having on more scientists than you? Who's having on more doctors than you? Who's like spending 3 hours to really like spend time dimensionalizing the issue than you, instead of making money off of intentionally scaring people, intentionally morphing the statistics to make you scared because they know that's going to make you click more and that's going to adrenalize you and get you addicted to
Well,
their news
it's not
site.
just that. There is that, but there's also that they're worried that you are going to make people relax and do something stupid, and they're going to put other people in danger. That to me is akin to people saying that you shouldn't have like flat earth conspiracy because you're going to trick people into thinking the earth is flat, and they're going to be miseducated, and it's going to be a problem, and they're going to be stupid, and they're going to ruin everybody else. I get that thought process, but I am a survival of the fittest person.
Right.
I am of a belief that you need to figure out what ideas are right and what ideas are wrong and work your way through it. And if you want to say that certain things are required because here's all the facts, we've debated it, and we figured out the right solution to how to be the perfect person and be super healthy. But if you're not addressing key components of that, and I bring those up, and you don't make any account of those and only want to concentrate on one aspect of the problem, I go, well, that's not a balanced approach, because especially when it comes to health and what we're doing right now in this current era, this whole year that we've gone through multiple different hurdles. One of them being the mental hurdle that we talked about earlier of detachment, of not being connected to people, which is such a big part of who we are. Adam Egget came on my podcast after not talking to anybody for months, and he was pale and weird and confused, and he got a COVID test, so he was somewhat relieved that he didn't have COVID, but he was like, you could tell, like, he hadn't been around people.
No, we are designed to have what, a couple hours of eye contact a day,
all day,
and even they even say apartment living is detrimental to your mental health because your primordial brain thinks you've been exiled from the tribe and don't have the protection of the tribe.
And you're around a bunch of people you don't fucking know, but you're around them all the time, so you never know each other well.
Yeah.
Next door neighbor might have a fucking chainsaw and
Right,
a
you
dude
start-
in his bathtub.
I always think about it because I lived in the apartments for so long and I stay in hotels so much, and I'm so fascinated about like the cognitive dissonance that has to happen and the disconnection to our reptilian animal brains of us to all simultaneously fall asleep in the same building right next to each other when that is our most vulnerable state.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm in hotels, the lights are off and I'm like, I'm just lying in the dark next to other people lying in the dark. This is so wild.
Yeah, because we're all stacked on top of each other.
Someone's
28
sleeping above me.
floors.
We're all at our most
and to
vulnerable.
the left and to the right, all down the row.
I actually argue the opposite of we're more divided than ever. I think we're more simpatico than ever, that we all coexist and all fall asleep in a hotel together and don't kill each other.
We're not more divided than ever. We're just more
agreed.
divided in the digital realm.
That's right.
And the digital realm is so unnatural, but it's so common. It becomes far too much of the way we interact with each other. That's the problem. It's just not indicative of how people are when they're right in front of you.
Right.
Most people you're right in front of, they could talk crazy shit about you online. But if you saw them and you just had a few words together, like,
Real
give me a
docile.
hug, give me a hug. Like, come on, give me a hug.
Come on.
And they'd hug you and you'd be like, you'd both feel way more relaxed.
The fact that we're all not killing each other constantly is it's like a miracle.
I think that way of interacting is toxic inherently.
Agree.
I don't think there's any way around it being at least partially toxic.
However, and I know Sam Harris did that incredible episode on the Roman Coliseum, and I talk about the Roman Coliseum all the time because I think right now we're blaming Twitter, we're blaming, Instagram, we're blaming YouTube. It's like humans have always done that. I mean, Hitler did what he did without Twitter. He was whatever he, did, he was able to do.
But I think it's the same. You know why? Because Roman Coliseum, you don't know that guy. That guy pops out of a fucking platform in the bottom of the surface,
You can
comes out
malign
and
him.
fights a tiger with a sword and gets killed. You don't know him. He's not
That's
your
not
homie.
my son. That's not my brother. That's
Exactly.
not my friend.
You don't know that guy. That's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Because
it's detachment. If that was your brother and you had to hug your brother before he went and fought a gorilla, you'd be like, "What? I can't do this."
But this is what it is. It's like, have you ever been in those relationships or friendships where I have, certainly, I'll speak specifically, where I've been in friendships where someone's like, I fucking cut that person off. We were friends and then I fucking cut them off because they did this thing, or they flirted with my boyfriend and they're gone. And you never think it's going to be you.
Right.
You never think you're the next in line when
Why are you talking through your neck?
Oh, wait, why do I do that? I don't know what that is. Oh, this was the other question I didn't ask you. Are you allowed to, I mean, not allowed, can you break someone's windpipe? Is it like glass? Is that true?
No, it's pretty flexible.
Okay.
Just push on your windpipe.
Damn it, I got to stop getting my facts off Reddit.
It moves in a little bit. It's kind of gushy.
I thought it was like a glass.
Have you ever cut through an animal's windpipe?
No.
It's chewy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of flexibility to it.
I just know that, and I want to get back to that feminism conversation at some point, that my whole deal is in the bedroom. The younger generation of guys, they don't like want to choke you or be violent. They're too scared you're going to sue them. So they do this like hovering over your neck. And then I said to my boyfriend, he's a critical care vet. He's a doctor. He understands how anatomy works. And I was like, you have to worry about me suing you. I'm not going to sue you for your fucking student loans.
Like, get that on paper.
And
just make him write it down. And you write it down.
He did choke me one time. And he went right for he did it like this instead of this. And I was like, okay, that's like the real kind of you're trying to kill someone.
You're trying to like pull out a Steven Seagal type choke.
That's the anatomically correct way to do it. But I'm afraid you're gonna
actually kill me.
Get too excited. But I think that a lot of the people that have come the hardest with this cancel culture thing are next in line, and they just don't have the foresight to go like, you're setting a standard that you yourself can't live up to. What are you doing?
Well, it's just a lot of like weird judgment without empathy. And here's the thing about like cancel culture or woke culture. And maybe I didn't express this the best the other day when I did the podcast with Joe List, but the point is, it's like it doesn't end. There's never going to be, people have this idea in their head that they're reaching for this new, better reality that's potentially available if they just do the right things and call out the right people and cancel the right people. But it's not. It's going to keep going. This was my point. It wasn't well expressed, but this is my point. If you keep going, it will come for you.
That's right.
No one is ever woke enough.
That's right.
It will never end. And, I was talking about like white, straight male people, but it's everybody. It's everybody. It's if you grew up with two parents. It's if you, didn't grow up poor.
Right.
It's if you, whatever it is, whatever
class trader
advantages that you have just without any fault of your own.
That's right.
Just randomly, nobody asks to be whoever it is. Nobody asks to be Chris Evans, Captain America. He's just Captain America. Boom. Here he is. Beautiful man.
Saw his dick on
out
the
of
internet.
Nowhere. Did you?
No notes.
Whatever. He's, he
Did he say
lucky.
something crazy? Oh, okay.
No, but he got lucky. That's who he is. It's like, it's not his fault. And to be angrier at him because of that is ridiculous.
And I know what happens when I'm angry at people. I know what that means, I think I've spent enough time trying to analyze myself, not in a narcissistic way, to just be able to sort of like deactivate a lot of the, either ancestral trauma or unconscious bullshit inner child behavior as to not punish people for something someone else did to me when I was a kid. It's not your fault. Like, I'm finally in a super healthy relationship with someone because I take responsibility for my own shit. I'm like, I'm upset, but it's not your fucking fault. I'm going to go for a walk and go cry in the car because you did nothing wrong. I'm going to stop punishing people for the transgressions of others that did the best they could with the tools they had, but whatever. And so, I think I know what it means when I'm mad at someone. It means I'm jealous. It means I have imposter syndrome. It means if I just attack and judge them, I'm perfect. I don't have to look at my own shit. So when people do that on the internet, I just try to go like, bless your heart. You're insecure. You're jealous. And I'd be doing exactly what fucking you were doing if I wasn't in a 12-step program for 12 years and like working on myself. Bill Burr came on my podcast and he was talking about trolls. And he was like, dude, if I was 15 years old and I had a direct line to a famous person, I would fucking troll them all day.
Yeah.
That'd be so funny.
For sure.
If I wasn't a comic, if I didn't have the ability to express myself and talk shit on stage and on podcasts, I'm sure I would be a troll.
100% be fun.
I would just be like,
especially if you get
you.
up some good lines and you have a bunch of people in the comments like, bye,
Dude,
LOL at Whitney Cummings.
If I had to work at H&R Block and was like funny and jealous of people, it's all I would do. I'd be like, hey, Joe Rogan, fuck you, man. That'd be hilarious to me.
It would be.
Well, I used to egg people's houses and toilet paper people's houses. It's kind of the same. It's like the modern version of doing that, right?
Anybody who's in a position where they don't think that achieving what that person has achieved is ever possible feels like they can throw a rock.
Yes. And it's also like you're not in the arena. You're not taking any risks. Like your risk is...
It's natural. But it's natural. It's part of what comes with the territory.
Right. That's right. It's human
nature. It
nature.
comes with the territory. You know?
And it's a small price to pay. You know? Stop it. I'm sorry.
I saw it happen. That's
why am I doing this?
I watched it happen.
I think I'm so...
You're afraid of black dicks.
What is it? Oh, no, I am not. Google me.
Push it out in front of your face.
Why do I do that every time?
I don't know. It's only this time. No, she never did it before, right?
Really?
No, I'm looking at your podcast. I think that's where you're used to having it.
Yeah, right here because
do you have different mics than us? Use these Shores?
No, I got the same ones
these
you got.
These are not a sponsor.
And they don't make them anymore.
Arms.
They actually don't. They stopped making the ones that we like so much. But no, I think that I subconsciously try to make my voice.
Are you pushed away because now you're like less close
different
to me?
Now
nervous?
I'm
yes, attacking you.
I feel.
This
I'm
is like
triggered.
body
I'm
language.
triggered.
You're triggered. You're pushing. You're pushing all the way to the belt.
No, because I'm too embarrassed for people to watch me adjust them. You know when you see a fucking comedian go on stage and not know. Even if they can't get the chord right, you're like, oh,
God.
you suck at comedy.
When I got my leg tangled in the cord, I'm like, no.
It's over. There
So
is
dangerous.
the body language of when a comedian first walks up and deals with the mic is all I need to know.
Yeah.
As soon as the comedian doesn't know what's going on with the mic or can't twist the stand in a way that looks like 10,000 hours, I'm like, oh,
Unless
no.
it's on purpose. Who was that guy that used to open up for Louis? He was like an old school comedian who had like fucked up hair.
Not Jay
on
London.
Purpose.
Jay London?
No.
Keep going. Recently?
He had like a parody act. It was not really.
Neil Hamburger?
Yes.
Oh!
Thank you very much. Neil Hamburger.
He's funny in a wild fucking way. Wild,
hilarious.
Dude. Wild.
And he would go on stage with this like fake act, like he was a fake bad comedian,
That's
but he was
right,
actually really funny.
And it was so funny
There he
to
is.
comics. It's so stupid. So dumb.
But really funny. I saw him open up for Louis.
You know what I think? I think I miss Andy Kindler, and I think I was like,
He's still alive.
I know,
Jesus
Christ. Jesus
Call
Christ.
him up. What the fuck?
But remember, he would do Montreal. He would do that State of the Industry thing.
yes,
And I was looking at Tim Dillon yesterday, and I was like, oh, maybe you're the next Andy Kindler in terms of like trashing the business and critique.
But a little more popular.
Yes. Andy Kindler used to go on stage at Montreal. He would do the State of the Industry. Is that what it was called?
Yes.
And
Brilliant.
he would roast
Every comedian, everybody
popular
that
comedian.
was like doing great, everybody that had a deal, he'd roast all the agents, he'd roast all the managers, he'd roast HBO.
So specifically.
Yeah. It was for comedians, it was a genius show because like for comics and people in the industry, it was so inside and it was a genius show.
I remember one time he closed with a joke about Penguins Comedy Club. I think in Pittsburgh or something. And it was like, because it's so hard to make comics laugh, you know?
Right.
And to me, I just remember fucking dying. And then and Tim kind of does that. Because I remember when I was doing the Joan Rivers roast, speaking of, I had a joke that would only work for comics. And it was so worth telling. Because to me, if 5 comics in the back are fucking laughing, like when I came up, I was trying to make David Taylor, Ari Shaffir, and these motherfuckers laugh in the back.
Right.
And I was like, if I just I don't know if I'm ever going to get these people from the Czech Republic to laugh or but if they laugh, I must be funny.
Right.
And I wrote this joke for the Joan Rivers roast because, Montreal used to have this thing called New Faces. I mean, I'm sure they still do, but it was like all the new comics would do stand-up in front of only agents and managers and just eat shit because it was in front of only agents and managers. And I wrote a joke for Joan Rivers. It was, Joan, you've had so much plastic surgery that every year you book New Faces at Montreal or something. And I remember talking to Andy Kindler about like those 1% jokes that only work for comics.
Only. Yeah.
Are so, and that to me is a big part of what podcasting does is like people get to hear all these like inside shit, but it still feels universal to them.
Yeah, in everything. If you talk to people that make knives, if you talk to people that, make sculptures, whatever it is they do, there's something in all those things that's universal, and that something is a person trying to do their best at whatever the craft is, whatever the thing is. And, you know, somewhere around it, you're going to encounter a certain amount of resistance. We encounter more resistance than most because we're doing something that is, it's controversial in that it's opinions based on what is happening in culture. And when you're a person like myself and you've had a disproportionate amount of success, and you do that very thing where you mock things and make fun of things and talk and give your opinions, I understand what's happening. I'm 100% okay with it. It is 100% natural for people to even have disproportionate takes on me.
Right.
That doesn't bother me. You know why? Because everyone I meet is nice. Everyone. I meet people all over the place.
That's right.
When they meet me, they're always nice.
Yeah.
I meet people that I understand that some people maybe don't like me, or if they met me, they would be hesitant. But I guarantee you, if you meet me and you're nice, I'll be nice too. I'm a nice person. And everybody is nice. Everywhere I meet.
That's right.
Everywhere I meet. It's numbers, Whitney. It's numbers. You're dealing with 350 million people. That's an impossible number of people.
Impossible.
Plus the rest of the world. Who the fuck knows how many that is?
You become a Rorschach test to people. And I think that, you know, in this pandemic, when you know, your voice, because you've earned the trust of people, you've earned, you know, people listening to you for 9 hours a week. That's almost a day. Some people listen to you a day a week. Some people listen to you a large percentage, the same percentage of their life that they sleep, you know? So when people, you know, come up to me and say, I love you from the Joe Rogan show, they like want to hug me. It's their religion in a way. And I use religion in a term that it just gives people meaning and gives them purpose and routine. You know, you're a family member to people. And I mean, I guess there was Howard Stern before and maybe Prairie Home Companion. I'm trying to think of people that...
Garrison Keillor,
buddy, what happened to him? Did he touch a woman's lower back?
Yeah. He touched someone's feet.
Jesus fucking Christ.
It's over.
I would do anything for someone
Jump
to
in a
suck
river.
on my feet or touch my lower back. I'd be thrilled. Garrison, call me. And so, and the I've only been podcasting for a year, mostly because of your influence and encouragement, but people come up to me in airports and stuff, and they have a connection to me that I don't have to my own fucking boyfriend. I'm like, you know, you have this, you're in people's cells, you know, and news networks and other comedians that get 5 likes, you know, by putting your name in their mouth. It's just sort of like, this is just a tax that comes with being so integral to so many people.
It's okay. It really is okay. I get it. And I don't know why I get it, but I get it. I understand where I'm at.
You're medicinal for people both ways. When they listen to you and go, yeah, fuck yeah, Joe, and when they go, fuck you, Joe, that you're providing medicine in both ways, because you're either giving someone adrenaline and self-righteousness, even whether they're wrong or right, and they're.
But it also makes you recognize like what is making other people upset. Like, why are they upset about what you do? Maybe you're expressing yourself in an inefficient way. Like, maybe you're doing it wrong. But I get, just positionally, I get it. I really do.
And I say that, I mean, whenever someone has an issue, I'm just like, are you having doctors and scientists on your platform to talk for 3 hours a day? Okay, bye, dude. What are you contributing to society? Like, you're just nipping at the heels of someone who is doing something, you know, righteous.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm
interesting.
telling you, it's okay.
I agree.
It's all normal.
Yeah.
It really makes I get the criticism of that, but I get the criticism of me. It doesn't bother me. I get it.
I don't hear. There's so much reverence from you for you for anyone that I know, but I do think that when you get as famous as you are, you become a mirror to other people's anger, and it's just like easy. It's just easy.
Well, it's also just like micro examination of every aspect of all the things you've said. It's normal. I get it. It's okay. Like, if someone like pulls up something that I said that where I made a misstep or I fucked something up, like, I'd watch the same thing. I'd be like, whoops, yep, I get it. I see it. It doesn't bother me.
But you're allowed.
It's okay.
People, and I'm like, okay, so you've been, you know, if you were on camera for 9 hours a week, you would never say something that you look back on and we're like, I probably should have said that differently. It's just this.
There's no way to do this any other way. If you want to do it the way I do it, here's what I do. I say what I'm thinking at the moment.
Right.
And I don't always, but one thing I don't ever do is think, I want people to like me more, so I'm going to say something I don't believe so that they'll like me more. I don't do that.
Right.
I tell you what I'm thinking at the moment. I'm like, maybe. And if I fuck something up, I go, oh, I fucked that up. No, that's not what I meant.
That is, to me, the most badass gangster shit you can do, because all these people, anyone that would have anything negative towards anyone like you, or, you know, I get people come at me so fucking much. Joe, during that time, And I think that I don't want to, underplay how valuable it was to me to have you and Annie Letterman and comics like connecting with me during the time that I was trying to have outdoor shows at my house during the pandemic at a time where people...
Well, you were getting attacked, and it was really freaking me out because I was like, I don't want to defend her because I know you can defend yourself. But there was a part of me that was like, what are you saying? She's testing everybody, and she's doing an outdoor show in her fucking backyard. What do you not want to celebrate that this is a celebration of comedy? This is an embracing of comedy? You're doing comedy in front of comics and friends.
Which these haters supposedly do as a vocation, yet any opportunity to not do it for a year,
But you know
they'll
what
fucking
it is?
take it.
It's the walled garden. It's the same thing, the walled garden. You've got Tim in there. You've got all these comics in there. You've got Little Esther. You've got all the Annie Letterman.
Yeah.
You got all these comics in there that are really funny people, and they're a part of this inner circle
Right.
at your place. And these other people are not. And they look at it, and they're not doing shows. They're sitting in their fucking apartment and listening for sirens out there, and they don't
Right.
know what's going on.
Right. You're looking at an excuse to
they're
not
scared.
do comedy. I would rather look for an excuse, figure out a way to do it. And
It's not even that they're looking for an excuse. They're just not doing comedy at the moment, so they might be in a bad place because of that.
Interesting, because I tested people, and people make fun of made
And
television.
you filmed it all. It was funny.
Filmed it all, and I was trying to make clips so people could put it on their Instagram and to be able to still be in the mix. And
Do you know how powerful that is once this is all gone, and it's kind of gone, but you could look back and go, this crazy bitch was trying to do shows in her yard. She was like 4 months in. She's
I
like,
hired 5
hey,
cameras.
let's go.
We were testing everyone. I don't
Yes.
have to tell you how expensive that was, but for me at the time, it was like, this is all that fucking matters.
I know exactly how expensive it is. I tested every person that ever came on the show.
I remember it, and
There's only like 5 shows that I didn't test people on.
and then people would say to me, they'd be like, well, how are you doing that? And 300,000 people have died. And I'm like, okay, I get that, but we tested people. They'd be like, well, the tests don't work. So it only works when it's positive.
All right, stay home and stick your fucking head in
But
the toilet. What are you talking
so the tests
about?
don't work when they're negative. It was like what I call the alt left, like people coming at me, and I was like, comedians have to be able to. If we're distancing outside, we were doing it at 4 p.m. in the afternoon. I'm like, tell me a reason scientifically that this shouldn't be possible.
Whitney, but it goes down to what we said before. It's like this kind of communication that you're doing, whether it's through Twitter or Facebook or whatever it is, it's just not the way people are supposed to talk. If you talk to that one person one-on-one that disagreed with you, you would tell them what you're doing. They would go, oh, I see what you're doing. Okay. And you're like, I just want to live. I just want to live, and I want to do comedy because I'm going crazy, because being around my friends is as essential as drinking water or taking vitamins or eating food.
That's right.
It's essential.
And this is my family. In the same way you want to talk about families being broken, I don't have a family, and comedians are my family. And if you're telling me that I can't figure out a way to get all these people that are sitting alone in their apartments together to engage in their, anesthesia and their coping mechanism and the thing that pays their bills and maybe their parents' bills, like you can't come at me for that, especially if you have a ton of money and you're sitting in your mansion.
It's not accurate. I get it from their perspective too. The thing that's missing is just open communication. That's the thing that's missing, and the time that it takes to communicate one-on-one with everybody. It's not really possible.
Not possible.
So it creates this fucking feeding frenzy of chaos and takedown culture.
And I think
that's what's going on.
My other thing was you didn't like me before. And now you found a reason. Like, you never liked me, and that's okay. I'm at the point, Joe, and I was talking about
this. But they
this.
didn't know you. If they didn't like
That's
you,
right.
it's just because they didn't know you.
Yeah,
Anybody that I know that knows you likes you. You're nice to everybody, Whitney.
Dude, because comedians, I don't care what
You're
level
not nice
you
to that neck microphone.
Dude,
No
why
fucking-
am I so... But don't you think this is making me sound sexier that I'm doing it here? I'm just trying to make
like
it
an
so
old
that the
lady who
YouTube
smokes a
comments
lot.
aren't like, I want to fuck you with a knife in
keep
your cunt,
pushing,
you shrill
instead
bitch.
of moving the microphone back.
I keep
you
moving back
push it-
further. I'm doing a squat because you said I want my fucking butt to get bigger. I have hope now that I've talked to you.
Your butt's fine. You just don't need fake chicken cutlets.
I
Accept
disagree.
who you are.
I will staple that shit on
Get some kettlebells and do some squats.
I'm dating a rock climber,
I
Joe.
know. He's a savage.
He is like a fucking little chimpanzee with the hardest butt you've ever seen in your fucking life. I've tried to stick my finger in it. It's like, you know those sausages that have the wire on the back that closes the butthole?
Do you?
It's like that.
A sausage that has a wire
You know,
that
like at
closes
the end of
butthole?
like a Jim Beam
Oh,
sausage.
I know what you mean. Yeah. Okay.
He's in
That's
such
his butthole?
wild shape, and I am a
That's
jellyfish.
how you test wild shape. how far you can stick your fucking
if
second
you can't
knuckle
get
in someone's
a finger
butthole.
in someone's butt. I mean, that's pretty.
Right.
That's a pretty hardcore glute right there.
I get it.
But so I feel embarrassed
with you.
I'm just a fucking mush. But yeah, dating someone who's like a real athlete is
So he makes you want to talk like this.
embarrassing.
Makes you want to talk like an old lady at a slot machine in Vegas.
I have to pee so bad.
How dare
Whitney.
you
We
attack
have to
Vicky
wrap this up.
Barbalek like that?
Oh, Vicky, I love Vicky. It's we got to wrap this up.
I know there's a couple things
3
that I feel like
hours
we
in.
start. Is that true?
Yeah,
We gotta
isn't
go.
What?
3 hours in?
Oh, we're over. Yeah.
This
Well,
Texas
over 3
tea is
hours.
delicious.
Well, we're fucking drank whiskey.
I have to pee so bad. My water broke ages
Buffalo
ago.
Trace.
Buffalo
All right.
Trace, is that your ship?
Whitney, you're the shit. I love,
I love you. I love you.
too.
I love you. I love you.
I love you
you,
too, Jamie.
Jamie.
You're the shit. All right. Bye, everybody.